Hello, everyone. Welcome to Indie Game Club. We're so glad to have you, whether you're watching on Twitch, YouTube, or Facebook. We appreciate you being here with us today. We're joined by 4 amazing guests, and we're going to be discussing 5 awesome indie games today. I already see some people in the chat. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Appreciate all the likes, shares, follows, subscriptions, all that good stuff. Really appreciate you. And want to give a shout out to, I know several of the devs of the games that we're going to be discussing today are going to be in the building. So looking forward to hearing them in the chat. If you are a dev and you're in the chat, make sure to say hello and don't be shy. Tell folks what game you're involved in. And we're looking forward to talking about all that. But let's get to everybody here. My name is Michael Zhitkov. I'm the executive director and founder of Potions and Pixels nonprofit based here in beautiful Charlotte, North Carolina. Definitely check our website out at potionsandpixels.com. We do a lot of great things, from developing games to developing workforce development programs, working on all sorts of different things, all related to games. So make sure to check it out. And of course, we do Indie Game Club, which is one of my favorite things to do each week. Let me toss it on over to Derivative right here in the center. Derivative, can you let folks know who you are and how they can follow you? And I'll drop your link in the chat.
All right. I'm Derivative. I stream obscure games. That means anything overlooked and underrepresented. Stream Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays over at twitch.tv/Derivative. So if you like some real deep cut games, check me out. It's always a fun time. I've got some secret event coming up that I'm planning to be part of.
Ooh, secret, you say?
I will let you all know when I know for a fact that I've been accepted to it. But yeah,
you're not joining a cult, are you, Derivative?
No.
Is this the last episode we'll ever see you on?
Yeah. Let me get my Kool-Aid.
Got it. Well, we always appreciate you.
The G Fuel Aid.
The G Fuel Aid.
Right? Just make sure they hit me up if you guys do Dateline, because I know you personally.
Oh, God.
I want to be that person. You never know someone until
until they snap. Awesome. Well, thank you, Derivative, for being with us. Everybody, you see that link, make sure to follow Derivative's stream. He always covers amazing indie games, and we always appreciate him here every week. Let's clap it up for Derivative. This is tradition. If you're new here, we keep this positive energy going. Clap it up wherever you are, even if you're just in your underwear eating cereal watching this show.
Oh, crap.
Clap it up.
All the things.
Is that you, Derivative, right now?
I've been found out.
You got a bowl of cereal in front of you. All right, let's pass it on over to Angelic Layla. Layla, let folks know who you are and where they can find you.
Hey, I'm Angelic Layla. You can go to my Twitch, which is Angelic_Layla. I usually stream Shinobi Striker on there with my NW clan. Also, you can catch me on the Athena Alliance. I'm one of the stream team goddesses there, as well as Legend. I'm also an ambassador for the game Her, so you can catch me on there sometimes. I actually just got featured on their Instagram the other day, which is pretty cool. So, yeah, I'm just me. I'm glad I'm here.
Always glad to have you, Layla. I dropped Layla's information, her Twitch, in the chat. Make sure to like and follow. Thank you, Layla, for being here as always. Always appreciate you. Let's clap it up for Angelic Layla, everyone. And then next, I was going to go to Legend of the Star, but I think she'll be coming back shortly, I'm sure of it. So let's toss it on over to Jordan. You want to go by Tempest today? Like, what should I call you today for this?
Just because I've been streaming recently, you don't need to call me Tempest.
I feel like you're like in stream territory now.
I know, right? I know. It was like 3 days in a row too, or something like that.
Love it.
Yes. No, you can call me Jordan, Tempest, whatever you want.
Cool.
You can call me Daddy. It's all good. Hello.
I love it. All right, Daddy, share what you can with everybody.
Yes. I'm Jordan. I love being on the show. I stream myself at twitch.tv/Tempest636. I've been streaming recently some StarCraft 2 matches, but then I just started Bloodborne because I'm a big From Software fan, so I streamed that like 3 days in a row. It's been awesome. It is really polished, fun, Dark Souls-like game. So you can check me out there if you want to watch. And yeah, I'm excited for the rest of the night.
Super excited to have you, man. Thanks for jumping in. You came in on really short notice too. So shout out to Jordan for playing through all these games so quick and jumping on here, which I know he's going to bring that fire for sure with that analysis. Oh, yeah. All right, let's clap it up for Jordan. Thanks for being here, man. And then last but not least, I just dropped her Twitch information in the chat, is Legend of the Star. Legend, can you let folks know who you are and where they can find you?
Hi guys, so I'm Legend of the Star. I am also part of the Athena Alliance, the goddess of indies. You can usually find me on Twitch Tuesdays through Thursdays, about 10:30 to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where literally all I do is play indies. And lately I've been doing Delta 8 reviews, but that's like a whole nother thing. I also started streaming on Glemmish. Fridays and Saturdays I'll be there. I was accidentally there yesterday because I forgot to switch my stream key. So that was funny.
Sorry, Legend. You know I'm always like the old man of the group that doesn't. I'm always one step behind. What's Glemmish?
So Glemmish is a new streaming platform that's similar to Twitch. There's also another one I think that Derivative and I have discussed previously called All-Star. Yeah. They're going to be starting soon as well, I think within another year or so, I'm guessing. But Glemmish is similar to Mixer in the fact that it's got FTL. So a lot of people are sort of comparing it to that service. However, they're different in the regards that there's more, I guess you would say there's more options for visibility, because I believe every time someone joins or every time the thing refreshes, it actually mixes everyone up. So everyone has an opportunity to be seen. Your viewer count isn't visible. You can already receive a subscribe button, I believe. There isn't some like a starting cap for that. It's just that's how they're doing it. They have open meetings every Thursday, I believe, and they're pretty communicative with the community. But they just launched on Tuesday, and it was a bumpy ride. Friday was iffy, but Saturday it was really smooth. So FTL is more like real time. So it feels more like you're having a conversation with people versus having that like 10-second delay.
Interesting. I kind of like the whole lack of view count sort of thing. I know.
I don't have my view count up for me personally because I just don't want to obsess over that.
Yeah.
I just want to be able to just have fun. But I just wanted to, and I've suggested other people to try it. I just, instead of seeing Apex and COD, y'all can watch indies.
Yeah.
So I've met some really cool people just by accident. Like one guy came in last night and was like, "Yo, like I don't really do indies," and I was like, "Well, let me tell you."
Yeah.
Because a lot of people don't understand.
And you converted him, and now he's one of us.
I did. I hope I did. Because just indie companies doesn't mean that their games don't exist.
No, for sure.
So that's where I've been. That's where I'm going to be.
Sweet.
Just on a couple days a week. But that's that's just it. So I just stream indies on Glemmish and Twitch now.
Awesome. Well, we'll have to check that out for sure. Let's clap it up for Legend here. Thank you so much as always for joining us. Make sure to follow her on all those platforms and keep the clapping going, because I see Mystic Tightness is coming strong into the stream. Thank you so much, not only for the 400 bits, but also for gifting the subscriptions to Star Skull and food stamps. Thank you so much. Got to clap it up for you. Really, Mystic, appreciate you right there. Also, give a shout out to LOL Guy for subscribing. Thank you. Got to clap it up for that too. You guys are coming hard. Really, really loving it, y'all. Love the energy and love, just love it all. It feels good for sure. And Tempest cheering right here too. Let's clap it up for Tempest. You gotta keep it going.
I'm not as rich though.
Let's just keep clapping. Everybody just keep, even if it's just one bit, we'll just clap the whole show away. You guys are awesome. Really appreciate you there. Sweet. Well, we got 5 games for y'all today. Let me give you guys Derivative. Clap it up. He's dropping the bits. We got the whole squad in here. We got 5 games that we're going to be discussing today. I'm looking at multiple monitors right here, so let me go and check. We're going to start off with the game called Copyright from our good friend Tim Scheinman. I think he's going to be dropping in at some point. I know he's in the UK, so it might be a little different time-wise there. Then we're going to be discussing City of Muse, Spirit Cleaning, Atoll the Last Ghost, and There's This Girl. So really excited to be discussing all 5 of those with this awesome group right here. So let's go ahead and jump on over to Copyright. Let me give a brief description of Copyright before we go into it. We should say this game is free right now, and you can play it in your browser. I'll drop it in the Twitch. Now, it literally just came out like within this last week, so there's actually not a trailer for it. So normally you'll see a trailer for the games at the bottom right, but in this case it's a static image, which we'll cover in a minute here. But let's talk about what the actual game is about. Let's read it right here. Want to talk about... Oh, no, excuse me. Brand new mini detective game about songwriting. Folk pop singer-songwriter Dan Shea is being sued by 3 artists for stealing their work. See if you can stop the steal. From the Owl Skip extended universe. I love that. If you've played Tim Scheinman's other games, you know that they kind of have these nice little connections between them. So this game, for those who have not seen it before, is in line with Tim Scheinman's other games that are kind of have you being like multimedia detectives of sorts. And in this one in particular, you are trying to find what instruments and what vocals from these other 3 artists were copied by Dan Shea. Which did you guys who played it? Did you guys figure out who Dan Shea is kind of modeled after?
No, I didn't catch that.
I'm gonna have a guess or two, I guess.
Give it a guess or two. I want to hear. I want to hear if you guys can guess some of the other artists too, because I talked to Tim about some of those as well. Any guesses of somebody who's been in the news for some potential song theft?
Oh, I was thinking just for the sound, not for the song theft.
Oh, gotcha. I think it's a similar sound too. Go ahead, give it a guess. It's all good.
I was thinking like Ed Sheeran stuff.
That's exactly right. Yeah. That's
Okay.
like kind of the whole focus here. And I think some of the other folks, like you see Laura Montez is based on Lana Del Rey. So each one of the kind of musicians has a different feel to it.
Okay.
So
Clever.
a lot of clever stuff. Yeah, for sure. So let me pass it on over to you guys before I'll give my thoughts on this. Most of you guys have played Tim Scheinman's games before. How do you feel about this one? And how do you feel about the theme?
I liked it. I thought it was funny. I thought it was. I liked it. I quite enjoyed it. Funny. I don't really have a lot of bad things to say about this one.
I'm glad to hear that. I know sometimes you guys have
I
said
had a good time with it.
things
Yeah,
feel a little bit more like homework. Did this feel better?
Yeah, it was good. It was fun to just sort of like play around. It was super easy to follow. Like, with it's kind of funny because with Tony around, I'm always checking, looking for README files.
Yeah.
Always got to have that now. That's actually a really hot take. A good tip, but
yeah.
it was very easy to handle and manage. I didn't really find many things wrong with it. I thought it worked perfect for the times, especially with everything going on. And everyone getting DMCA'd like everywhere.
Yeah, it almost makes you wonder, if you will, just for accidentally copying some melodies or something in these songs, to other stuff.
Yeah, people have been getting like blocked, like banned on Twitter and everything. It's been really outrageous. So having a different spin on it in this way was really cool.
Yeah, actually, I didn't stream it because of that reason. I worried that it was going to DMCA me.
Is it because you thought they were using actual songs, or just because the songs would be close enough?
No,
to
I knew that, like, because it's going around the idea of like the copying and stealing. I was concerned playing it that it might sound a little close to someone who. I mean, you mentioned like the Lana Del Rey, Ed Sheeran kind of thing. I had that worry that some 3-second clip was going to sound like a Lana Del Rey song, and my channel's gone.
Yeah,
so
I feel
that's why I didn't stream that one.
And we should say officially, all of this music is not based on. There's a big disclaimer at the beginning, so I'm not trying to get Tim in trouble here. All of this music is completely fictional, and it's supposed to talk about the idea of things being pulled. But you guys have all heard about this before, right? I'm sure in the chat. I'd love to hear from folks. I remember. I don't know why this song comes to mind, but everybody remember Nelly Furtado? Anybody? Anybody? Okay. Timbaland used to like produce a lot of her stuff. I don't know if she's really making. I think it's more folksy stuff. She's kind of gone back to her roots. But I remember there was like a song that he got sued for that was almost like a straight rip. I think it was like "Do It." I think I'm pretty sure it is. I'm trying to act like, oh, it might be this, it might be that. But can you guys think of other songs that have been like straight ganked like that, or like different pieces?
I mean, there's the classic Ice Ice Baby Under Pressure. But...
Yeah,
right. And there's a lot of Beatles songs that have allegedly been ripped off too. Paul McCartney, especially. I mean, he's a huge singer-songwriter that a lot of people take bits and pieces off of his music. Michael Jackson is one. I think even recently they were talking about Prince too.
Yeah.
Formerly known as Prince. I'm sorry, the artist formerly known as Prince. His family was even in a lawsuit over that as well. I think Justin Bieber has done it. Everyone, I think, that's been big name has always accused someone of, well, you ripped this beat off of whatever. Because and it's like, and then if you read it, it's funny. It's like it's so funny to me because especially like the Ice Ice Baby one, it's like
Yeah.
yo, it's either slow down or like fast. There really isn't.
Yeah.
It was just weird. Like, why are you really gonna get mad over that? Like, that's so silly.
Yeah,
That's a little silly. Like, anyone could copyright that shit. I just have to slow down the beat and ta-da, you know?
Any thoughts about this? I know, Layla, you didn't get a chance to play this one, but do you have any thoughts about this all these lawsuits? I know they had the Robin Thicke, Pharrell, like Blurred Lines lawsuit.
That's what I was
like,
gonna say. I
there's
remember
been
hearing
so
about
many
that one.
things. Yeah.
When it comes to music, I guess that since it's always talked about, or that's something that's always happening, I really don't focus on that stuff very much. I guess like I don't know being them talking about all that stuff, or when I don't really have a opinion because I just when I think about music, I just think it's shared anyway. Like so, whenever I get people are making money off it, but I feel like that's more of a money like lawsuit issue to me that I get it because it's how they're making their income, but I just love music and I listen to all types of music, so I just my mind with music it should be shared anyway. I think that like also taking similar a how do I say, like they appreciate it or they like it, so they just want to spin off their own version of it. So I don't know. I just feel like it's more of a money issue.
You want a shared remix. I feel you on
yeah,
that.
Yeah.
I feel like that's definitely. Have you guys ever spent any time on like? I think the website's called like Who Sampled It or something like that. And you can like actually trace all these samples and everything. It's funny actually. Star Skull 999 says, "Didn't they play royalty-free music over a rock concert at an event?" I don't know if you guys saw that. You're exactly right, Star Skull. Like I think Metallica, if I'm not mistaken, weren't they playing?
Yeah, they like right in the middle of Metallica song. They put like this completely non-Metallica sounding upbeat, you know, what would usually have like an infographic kind of song. It was ridiculous.
Well, I think it's also
figuring it was Metallica who's like the big reason for all of this.
Yes, that's exactly what I was going to connect to Layla's point. Exactly, that Metallica is actually as metal as they may be, they're also like really hardcore for defenders of copyright infringement. So they've been they were part of the whole anti-Napster movement and everything.
Yeah.
Jordan, does this like when you hear a musician getting sued for potentially pulling things from other artists, does it make you look at them any differently, or how do you view all this stuff when you see it in the headlines?
Yeah, I mean, at times it can definitely be like, well, that was pretty egregious. I have a little bit less respect for them.
Yeah.
But it just feels weird. It feels subjective. For me, because I've never really been a musical artist at all. Like, I've only barely messed around with any instruments, never grew up learning them. So I was terrible at this game. But when I think of, like, the Robin Thicke and Pharrell incident, like, where do you draw the line between, like, an homage and copywriting? Like I just don't know. It's just weird what you're allowed to do and what you're not. I don't get it,
once you put in things like parody law as well, that kind of gets really
good point
muddy, because that's one of the reasons why Weird Al Yankovic's able to kind of he still gets permission because that's the kind of person he is, but he doesn't have to in a lot of these cases.
Yeah.
Which is why, you mentioned Robin Thicke with the Blurred Lines song. People got around because, apparently Marvin Gaye's estate is really egregious regarding those things and was going after like anyone who had a song that sounded like one of his. There was this parody artist that went and straight up took like the music of it and just did a parody about like how they can't do crap about this because it's a parody.
Oh, nice.
Really trying to stick it to them, and they were able to get away with it because of parody law.
Yeah, it gets really tricky because like as you guys saw at the beginning of the game, they kind of talk about I think in the radio segment, which I always enjoy in all of his games, kind of listen to how the analysis there that what was it? Was it 2 Live Crew? I'm trying to remember. It was a Supreme Court case. I think 2 Live Crew, if I'm not mistaken, the rap group in the 90s. There was a that kind of helped establish this whole idea of like a 5-note kind of section that you can like analyze to see if people I should have looked this up ahead of time. But everybody, yeah, Google.
I'm surprised that you did it, and I'm quite
I know,
surprised that you have this information on hand.
I know. Benzo, Benzo Cloud is saying, damn, Mike out here with the hangover shades. I promise you it's not affecting anything else. I do got a beverage here, but no, I promise you I'm completely awake and aware here.
Was that a Four Loko you had?
No, it's a Honey Crisp cider.
It's like, I don't think they make Four Loko anymore.
No, your boy's not drinking that right now.
Aren't you a little old to be drinking Four Loko?
I don't think I've ever had Four Loko in my life.
You're too young. Maybe you're not old enough to drink Four Loko.
You guys are gonna have to school me on all that stuff. I never quite know. Although we got an endorsement right here from Benzo. Apparently this is a good cider. Appreciate that. Cami is saying parody, when used correctly, can destroy the strong and give way to the meek. Interesting point right there. I feel you on that. I think we do need some or we need some protections to ensure that, as Layla was saying, that people can like remix things potentially. But at the same time, you also want to give credit where credit's due, right? Like, for example, that Timbaland example that I gave with the Nelly Furtado song was like some at-home, like, Netherlands DJ or something who just made it on his computer, and Timbaland just straight like ganked the whole thing from him and never gave him credit and completely denied that he did it. And so in those cases, it's like, man, you got these like famous producers who are kind of lazily just grabbing things and claiming them, and then you're at your home on your computer and you're like, damn, I just uploaded this thing to SoundCloud and now I gotta find a lawyer to sue this asshole in the United States.
Yeah, but then it's like, well, right? You've got to copyright your stuff, because how are you going to be able to prove that because this is Timberland, you know what I mean? So it's like, how are you going to be able to go against that? That would be demoralizing, honestly, and like so intimidating, you know, as a person. I'd be like, no, but I swear to God, you know,
my upload date.
Yeah, so funny you mentioned the producer thing, because that's what happened to, you remember that song Bittersweet Symphony?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
it's a great example.
It was a situation where the producers that owned the rights to the Rolling Stones songs pretty much got them to court over it, and they had to give like all profits to that. And then it was found out that the Rolling Stones sampled that bit that they were going off of from something else.
Yes, that's right. So it was like it went down a deeper level. So they were suing for something they themselves sampled.
Well, number two, earlier in the year, a lot of people were afraid to stream Cyberpunk because of the DMCA. Like, they had to put out a statement multiple times saying, you know, you guys are fine. Let me double check. I mean, of course they did that, which was more important than, of course, making sure nobody was having seizures of their games or whatever. Yeah. But they were like, no, let's just make sure that we have this.
So,
you know, you guys can stream it. It was like, it's been crazy as a content creator, because you have to be careful, like what you can and can't, you know, am I going to get, we like to listen to music. I don't like pretzel rocks because I'm cheap. I don't want to have to pay for it, you know, and if you get the free version, the bot spams your chat like you've got 20 people in. And in my opinion, it gives people a false impression that you have like people in your chat when they're just like some bot spamming, you know?
Yeah.
Well, I don't like to use it. You know, but I like to listen to music when I play something as Armello, because Armello is just a board game. It's chill, and more people just kind of, you know, there are just certain games that, you know, you don't really need whatever for, and you can just kind of vibe or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
And it's just so frightening as a content creator, because you don't know what you can and can't use, or if you can't, you know, and what's going to damage your channel. And if you're a smaller channel, or a channel that's, you know, just still sort of on the cusp of breaking out, that could really hurt your image compared to maybe someone who's partnered and has been in this business for a while, you know?
I love where we're going with this, because we're talking like a deeper analysis of like intellectual property. I got a couple comments I want to pull out here, because I see some good paragraphs in the chat here. But first, I want to give a shout out to Flying Cabbage 11. Thanks so much for following. Really appreciate you. Glad you enjoy this content. LOL guy over here is saying, I think the democratization of IPs, like with BlazeBall and their unofficial fan band, the Seattle Garages, that are one of the teams, can be really cool, so developers and community can collaborate together. Yes, BlazeBall is doing some really cool stuff right now. I think everybody needs to check out BlazeBall if you're not familiar with it. Like that's a great example for sure. And I think, as you said, I think the developers are really embracing the whole idea that the fans are really adding this lore and drama to it. Cami is saying, fun fact, you can make some music or have someone make your music, copyright your song, put it on one of your YouTube videos, and then your YouTube channel will give all monetization to the copyright holder, which is you. which can monetize your channel without actually meeting the monetization requirements for YouTube. Interesting. Okay.
Infinite money.
Interesting. That's very interesting. LOL guy saying also the Cyberpunk thing, I believe their DMCA safe option didn't work for a few songs on launch. With the question mark. I'm not sure if...
Yeah, I want to
you're
believe that was the
familiar with
case.
that. Okay.
Like, they were still getting some things flagged.
Interesting. Hey, Amar, thanks for joining us in the chat. Really appreciate you, man. I wasn't planning on bringing this up, but I was chatting with some folks about it earlier, somewhat related here. Did you guys are probably familiar with the fact, our guests and those at home, that game mechanics are not actually something that can be trademarked, at least in U.S. copyright law. So, for example, you can trademark a picture, a song, something along those lines, but an actual mechanic cannot be. Up until recently, though, I don't know if you guys saw the stuff where Monolith actually trademarked or patented the Nemesis system from the Shadow of War, the series there. I have a lot of concerns about this.
The thing is, funny you mention that, because there was actually a big game mechanic that was trademarked a while back that just I want to say in the last few years lapsed, and that was to have a mini game during the loading screen. That was something that I think
that was patented.
I want to
really?
say Namco had the rights to it.
Wow, I did
and
not
that's
know
why
that.
no games had a mini game during the loading screen.
That's insane.
Because they had the rights to it.
It's supposed to be really fun. That Blaze Ball that LOL guy is talking about. I don't know if
yeah.
Head of people, but like I'm noticing, I was like, yeah, I got a couple of friends that play it, and they've gone down like the rabbit hole. There's like leagues and all kinds of shit.
I want to get into it. I really do. It looks really fascinating. And
I was thinking about it because it looks cool.
Yeah, how do you guys feel about like that? The idea, I actually didn't know about that. Thanks for bringing that up to my attention, Derivative. But that whole idea, it's kind of like anti-competitive and doesn't allow people to express themselves in an artistic way in this medium, right? I mean, to some extent, we can understand. I would say, if you're a drug company, for example, not to defend like big pharmaceuticals here, but if you put a lot of money and research behind something, you can understand, for example, having the exclusive ability to produce it for such and such period of time, right? You can't expect everybody just to immediately be able to produce generics, I think is a basic idea here. Unless obviously it's like antiretroviral or like AIDS medication. I think there's exceptions obviously in this case. But in this case, the people who are just putting a game in a loading screen or a Nemesis system, it's not necessarily like that they put so much money or research into something that they deserve to be compensated, right? I mean, are we going to get to a point in the future, if this continues, where if you want to design a game, you actually have to strip things from your game because somebody who had more means and more financial power and more
especially
lawyers
such a vague concept is really the big problem with it. Because then you could say like any situation where an enemy comes back later, it's considered a nemesis system, and you can then you're so. I mean, in the earlier days of gaming, there were situations where they had hardware limitations, so they had to the limitations of that bred innovation. Things like removing something like a nemesis system that could be improved upon. Things like the loading game, mini games could have been improved upon over the years, but now that there's these things on it, people just don't even want to touch it.
Yeah. Like, imagine if somebody patented, like Donald Vaccarino, the original, I guess, Dominion with deck building, right? Would we have Slay the Spire right now? Would we have so many other deck building games? That's just one example. Like, where do we draw the line in terms of the originators? Of course, you want people to have compensation. Like, you can go back to, like, the Dota, League of Legends kind of things and look at some of the OGs that were in the mod community. But where do you draw the line here? And should people call this stuff out?
Well, I think it depends on whether you're paying homage to it or if you're like just like using it and blatantly saying, that's mine. I made it, I did this. I think there's a huge difference in that, and I think people tend to get a little, I guess, hyper-focused on just the money-making of it, like the business side of things, instead of just like taking a step back maybe in certain situations and being like, all right, cool, like, I see you took my beat and you did this with it, like, right on. You know what I mean? Like, that kind of thing. Like, there's a lot of things on, like, with TikTok, they're doing the duets.
Yeah.
Right? A lot of that music is copyrighted, but there's people that are singing it their own way or playing it their own way. Or there's even this one, I don't know who he is, but I think he's, like some type of DJ, and like these couple of TikToks that I've seen, like these women are just singing or rapping, just riffs, just freestyling, and he just hears it and does beats, and it's the duet thing. So it's like, what would that be? Like that's their song, but he's adding something to it. It's a slippery slope, and I think people get too hyper focused on one side or the other instead of just like enjoying it for what it is. Like people are so tense nowadays; it's ridiculous.
Which I think this game
does. The transformative work thing. That, I mean, I'm a little bit more, like if it's a straight rip, I'm not as much of I won't really defend it as much. But with things like transformative work, you take, like I'll give an example like that. There was it that Outkast song "Hey Ya," where it's got that certain sound to it, and then someone basically turned it into like a coffee shop acoustic version. Yes, it's the same lyrics, it's the same sound, but they transformed it in that sense. And that I'm a little bit more okay with.
Yeah. No, I feel you. And I think like attribution is important here. I'm getting some stuff in the chat. Shout out to our own Layla here. Thank you for moderating things. I'm having so much trouble looking. I don't know, actually. I have no idea what was in the chat, but I see you're clearly going through it. So, of course, I
Everyone behave
questionable. I didn't say the first guy's being questionable.
Let's keep it.
If y'all are saying things in the chat that I am feeling some type of way about, then there's a problem because I'm a very
Let's keep it civil, y'all.
Yeah.
Indie Game Club's all about love. Let's show love to each other here. Let me get a couple.
You're paying attention. It's cool. Like
We're the only
yeah, I'm like checking all these windows.
Right. We've done this before. It's okay.
Yeah. Let me read a couple comments here, and then we'll get back to the game. And I hear Jordan's got something, so let me read a couple things here. LOL guys saying, yeah, the Seattle garages were really embraced by the game band, and now there's an official Blazeball album coming out from the Seattle garages. That's just so cool. That is awesome. Star Skull saying it's a huge danger, complete detriment to society that we can't have loading screen games. Cammy saying Namco, patented it. LOL guys saying another patent I really don't like. Bloober Team making the split screen controlling two characters at the same time mechanic a patent. Oh my god, are you serious? All right, I need to look up some of this stuff. I was not aware of that one, but that's something. Yeah, several games. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that whole idea. I'm assuming what you're saying is like when two people can play with one controller, like my right hand and Jordan's holding it with his left hand sort of thing, and we're playing co-op that way. That is wild. Cammy saying putting money and research behind things. As a pharmaceutical company, you mean putting taxpayer money and using taxpayer-funded research to make a product? No, I was just giving kind of the standard textbook example behind like patents behind. So, for example, if in that case, if a medical company, a pharmaceutical company puts a lot of money into researching something, you can say that there's a reasonable expectation that they can at least make their money back, because some of these pharmaceuticals like cost truly billions of dollars of research goes into them. Again, not to like defend big pharma here, but I think there is a reasonable argument to be made. LOL guys saying that patent is really intrusive because it goes into anything mechanical or narrative that is vaguely similar to the medium. Not a fan at all. There's a lot of thoughts about that. Let's take it. I'll go back to some of the comments here in a minute. Jordan, I know you had something to say. You want to jump in here?
Yeah, sure. Thank you. I guess the way I see it, right? We love indie games. We're Indie Game Club. So often they use like very normal mechanics and put their own twist on it or something. And let's say something very vague, like derivative and other people were implying earlier, like directional sword swinging, like some Skyward Sword combat or something was patented and no one else can use it. I feel like there'd be a million indie games that use that, but make it even better or more unique, not be able to use it anymore. And it just feels weird. It feels not okay. Like if you straight up stole their source code, like you stole their programming and put it in your game, and that can be proven, then like send your ass to jail. But I feel like concepts should be a little more loose. Now, with that being said, isn't the food industry or like fast food or something, don't they have a copyright system, but it only lasts like a few years or something?
I don't know.
I get what there's pretty much the concept, if they have their license, you can't do it within a certain range. Like your concept can't be in a certain range from theirs.
Yeah, like after the Big Mac, like Burger King couldn't come out with their own version, the Whopper or whatever, until like 6 years had passed or something like that. That's kind of a long time in the gaming industry, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, for sure.
If there's a little more leniency to these, maybe it's okay. But if there's not, then I'm kind of against it for the most part.
Yeah, I think when it comes to things of an artistic nature, like, of course, we want to value art, right? Like, the fact of the matter, we all know that the general society doesn't value necessarily the written word, the painted, whatever it may be. It's easy to just assume this stuff can be free and it's bootlegged all the time. But at the end of the day, a lot of work goes into it. But we have to at least have these systems able to be used by others. Like, we don't have to design things and be terrified that I may be using something that is patented in this way. I mean, again, just to give a little fairness to the idea, like this year, I think, is the year where George Orwell, 1984 and Animal Farm, I think, have entered the public domain. So if I wanted to make a game about 1984...
I think Gatsby just did.
Gatsby did as well? And so there's an argument you can make for that, right? You put a lot of work into something, you should get the residuals for it for a period of time. Unfortunately, that period of time seems to be extending too much.
Blame Disney for that.
Yeah, exactly. And so among many, they can be blamed. But there's the whole idea that when you have something in the public domain, if we wanted to make a video game about Robin Hood right now, we could all do that, right? We don't need permission. And it's great, kind of to what Layla was saying, to where you can get it to the point where it can be remixed, rethought about, in many different ways. Which, let's go back to some questions about this game real quick. Like, I actually thought this game did a really good job of showing, like, all the kind of subtleties. Like, there were some clear examples where you're like, man, that was a straight copy. You know what I mean? Like, they straight up, like, the vocals progressed the same way. Even some of the word usage was the same. And then there's a couple others where you're like, if it was in different circumstances, you can say, I give them a pass. Did you guys feel the same way? Like, in something, like, to me, it reminds me of, like, comedians. You know, a lot of times comedians are really fight over, like, material. But it's, like, imaginable, for example, that somebody could have a routine about something and somebody else across the world could come up with something similar, right? And so that's what I'm kind of wondering here. Did you guys get that vibe from the game, too? That it kind of was balanced in that way?
I had a really hard time with this game, I will say.
I didn't get far enough. I didn't know anything. Which I have questions. How if you like get them all, Mike, since you're Grandmaster Gamer over here, did you get them all? Is there like a payoff? Is there more audio for the news people or something, or the radio station people?
It kind of has like an after, like what happened after you beat it. So it talks about like Dan Shea. I guess I don't want to. Well, we're all about spoilers here, but it kind of tells you what he does after the fact, like how the lawsuit goes, that sort of thing. So it's just some text, but it's, I think, a satisfying ending. I got stuck. I got through, what is it? There's 10 tracks, or 10 things you have to identify, and I got the first 8 fairly quick, and it took me a while for the last 2. But we should say again, this is free. You can check it out right now for everyone. How far did most of you guys get? I know it really was, in some cases, some of those samples were pretty hard to identify.
I got about, like, I think 6 in all, so I did pretty decent, you know, but I'm an old lady too, so a lot of the songs were like more familiar, I guess, to me than they were most. But like I said, I thought it was really well balanced. I mean, it was fun. It was kind of like testing your own smarts, because, you know, as a person, you're always like, yo, like that sounds like, oh my god, what is that? You know, all the time. Isn't that why they made that one website? What is it? That app?
Like Spotify,
Shazam, right?
Yeah,
Shazam or something like that, right? Where you can do that kind of thing, and it'll tell you what it is. You know, or, you know, for, I don't want to say her name too loudly because she'll wake up, but, you know, Bixby. You know, if you like talk to Google or like Alexa or something, you know, like she'll be like, oh yeah, and she'll like look it up for you and stuff. So I like I said, I don't have any bad things to really. Surprisingly enough, I had a really good time. It was fun. I mean, it was a great stress reliever. Great way to just sort of, like I said, kind of play with your memory and see like, oh shit, like the guy, and fun to play, fun offline game to play. Like I said, I mean, I don't know about stream. I mean, I would stream it. I didn't have a chance to this week, or I would have. I don't know, like things like that don't bug me. I'm not like tempted by thing, because I think some of this shit's just silly with Twitch, you know, and I know we're streaming on them and whatever. But I just think a lot of that stuff is just silly. It's their system specifically that's picking up a keyword. It's not a person behind a screen that's going, oh, that sounds like this. Boop. over thousands and thousands of videos.
In
They
fairness,
just
though, they're
they just fix their
probably
system,
they're probably kind of they're facing a lot of scrutiny from other lawyers for other organizations too, right? So it's one of those things where these big companies that hold all these media rights, there's just a few kind of key conglomerates that really own so much of the media we all consume globally that it is.
Yeah,
it
and
does
it
become quite
astonishes
dangerous.
me too because it's like you have all this money, just fix your shit. Like just fix it. And that's why
immature automation is really the problem.
Yeah, like just dude, you can afford to get the people in Silicon Valley to like people need jobs. You need to like whatever, just like fix your shit. Like that's all.
Well, these issues are only going to become
policies and all that other like internal stuff that they should be fixing anyway on how they treat their content creators. That's a whole nother thing. But when it comes to something like that, it's like, dude, like it's just you can afford it, fix it. It's crazy weird.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad to hear you overall enjoyed it. You guys already know, if you've been watching this show for a while, I'm a huge fan of Tim Scheinman. I love his whole kind of multimedia detective style. I think it's fantastic. Let me read a couple more comments here, and then we'll probably jump over to our next game because we got 4 more here. Dart Sabulba, hey Dart Sabulba, saying all these patents are about money and how much can be gouged from other people. Patents on creative techniques will stop the development of creativity. I think that's a perfect sentence right there. I totally agree 100% with that. Benzo Clown saying, I think FF has more trademarks. FF, you might want to elaborate. Talking about Final Fantasy or what?
I think Final Fantasy.
Yeah. What are we talking about here? King of the Nerds saying Whoppers.
Fast food, I think, yeah.
Oh, fast food has more trademarks. Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Layla. Yeah. King of the Nerds saying Whoppers are better than Big Macs. Well, you guys let us know in the chat if that's the case. King of the Nerds saying a 1984 game would be interesting. Yeah, I've thought a lot about it. I'd love to do a 1984 Animal Farm game. I'm a huge George Orwell fan. Star Skull 999 saying Mickey Mouse is set to be public domain in a few years, so copyright law is going to get its arm twisted hard. Is that true? That's interesting because some of these characters seem like they can be extended for a certain amount of time. Did Mickey Mouse?
And that's exactly what happened with Mickey Mouse. Was that like it was approaching where it was going to be?
Yeah.
And then I don't remember what the act was, but they like really kind of jumped on it to try to get it extended on the fact of I think their argument was that these were characters that were still in use.
Yes.
That they had not gone stale, and that's the reason that they said to extend it.
There's danger in that, though. There's danger, like, a lot of legal agreements are made on those in perpetuity kind of clauses that allow you to kind of extend move the goalpost further along just by utilizing it. That's something, we need to look into that more. Benzo the Clown talking about, there's an Animal Farm game out that came out earlier this year, or at the end of last year. It's on Steam right now. Dart Sabulba was saying The Great Gatsby did last month, just like you did, Derivative. King of the Nerds saying, but with copyrights, we sim racers and lovers of F1 and racing, because drive F1 cars, and iRacing because F1 only gives their rights to the cars to Codemasters. And so to get around it, iRacing came up with their own version of the closest thing to an F1 car. We will get it, but it's even in the racing game. We will get, but it's even in the racing. Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, like Madden is a great example, right? There used to be a 2K variant, but EA controls the Madden rights right there. Cool. Any last thoughts about this one, or can we jump to the next game? Okay, sweet. So that, everybody, was copyright from Tim Scheinman. I will drop the link in the Twitch chat one more time if you all want to check that out. And then let's go on over and discuss the next game of the night, which will be City of Muse. So this is City of Muse, everyone. Let me read a description for everyone here. This is a very short game. It's about 5 to 10 minutes. Explore a city overtaken by a new entity. Talk to the leftover dwellers. Reach the Muse. Derivative, you're always great about describing what a game's like. You wanna start here and tell us what we're looking at?
This is a tough one to describe. I mean, it's really just kind of a visual experience, really. It's absolutely gorgeous, even with that kind of pixelation that it's got going. To be honest, I don't even know how to like explain the gameplay. I mean, it's your walking simulator style gameplay, but the story I couldn't describe, if there really even is a story to really go off of.
Yeah, so we have that description I just kind of gave, but you're right. There's not too much to go off of. Explore a city overtaken by a new entity, talk to the leftover dwellers, reach the Muse. And again, we should say this is from Nikolai Ushakov. I will drop his information right here in the chat as well. How'd the rest of you all feel about this?
I felt lost. But I guess was like Derision was saying, just walking around and looking at stuff and like appreciating how everything looks. Like it was pretty. I can say that part was maybe therapeutic if we're gonna try to go deep with this.
Yeah.
Just like walking around. And I was even more confused at the end. So
The ending was definitely confusing.
Oh, I love it.
I was like, all right, I don't know what happened, but it was really pretty. It's a really, really pretty game.
An absolute gorgeous game. In fact, if you look at the Nikolai's itch.io page, he says, I'm a level designer / game developer. I make games about cities, which I think is rather interesting because this environment feels like truly lived in. You know what I mean? Like it feels like this feels like this was built, built organically, I should say, right? This doesn't feel like just a level that like a person created, which obviously it was, but it feels like a real world. It's not populated by anyone except these kind of dwellers, which are kind of these like human-esque forms, but kind of leaves, kind of keeping them in place, or that's what they are in place, as you can see there. Jordan, what did you think about this one? You got some thoughts about that ending?
I would make an argument that it's not lived in.
Ooh,
it's a a floaty little atmospheric like minimalist game. It almost just reminds me of a really, really short story, like a one-page short story, because there was seriously like 5 things to read, like 5 things of dialogue with the characters you bump into, and then the spooky ending that I loved, and then that was it. But reading into it with the guy being a level designer, because I read that on there too, I feel like there's dialogue implying like almost, I love reading into things, so let me just say that. But my mind's going to like end of the world, or not end of the world, almost maybe like end of humanity, and humanity was overcome by like plant life or what have you, which is why these humanoid creatures talking to you are like leaves floating and praying. A lot of stuff is boarded up, but there's like and overgrown too. There's like grass and moss and stuff growing over stuff. So I just feel like whatever this is, it's slowly been taking away the humans. And like you don't get that feeling when you're first playing it. You think this is innocent or like Layla was saying, therapeutic, but then that spooky ending and you're like, oh shit, was this like their plan all along? I liked it. Once again, very short, not much to do. You just walk around and learn. But
there was that
deep.
line that happens like right before you kind of go into that well. That's like, are you a brick or a builder? Let the Muse decide, or something along that lines.
Yeah.
And it's
that confused me too, because I'm like, what was that?
Yeah.
I wanted to get more, and I wanted to dive in to be like, oh, what's the meaning? Because that's what I usually do. I guess because it's so different. Like when you're out walking around and you're exploring, and then that shift, I'm just like, was this thing even good? Was this even a good deity? I was very confused by that as well, and everything just was so barren as well. So I'm just like, what happened here? I need someone to explain to me, because my mind isn't going to take me there.
And that's why I look at it as like, maybe like, it depends on your point of view, because it seemed to be like pro nature. I mean, the ending's a little weird. We don't know exactly what happens there, but
can you tell everybody about it? Because I mean, it's 5 minutes. We're as we say, we're always spoiler heavy on the show.
Yeah, spoiler. I mean, this guy's talking in vagaries. This leaf humanoid, and he's just saying like, become one with the earth, like, paint the city green, so on and so forth. And like you said, jump in the well. The Muse or whatever will decide if you're a brick or a builder, and then the music cuts out, the scenery changes, and you're in a graveyard, and there's just something in the distance, and you're like, what? And then I was like going towards it at first, and then the sound effects started getting louder. And I'm like, nope, turn around. But you can't escape it.
Yeah.
So so I feel like you
and
use
it's
the
all
words
graves,
barren.
we should say, right? At the end.
Oh, it's all graves.
You're
Yep.
Running
Hills
through
and graves.
tombstones. Yeah.
Yeah, you use the words barren, and you use the words like, is this a good thing or not? That's why I say it's like nature. It's like it's good for nature. It's good for the earth, probably,
Right.
but not good for us.
Yeah.
Interesting
Okay.
point.
What is that movie, man? Okay,
You're
so
thinking of the M. Night Shyamalan movie, right?
Well,
Yeah, I think so.
yeah, that's what
The
this
Happening?
game kind of was. It was like an
The
M. Night
Happening,
Shyamalan
yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
Oh.
The Happening, yeah, where you didn't see it, but it was everywhere. Yeah, but to me too, it was like, are you a brick or a builder? Like, are you stone, or are you gonna heal the earth? Like, that was kind of like my take on it. Like, what is because it was such a beautiful and vast place. I mean, it was pretty intensive. I mean, if it was you just solo, it looked like it was like a mini island to me, you know what I mean? And then you walk into like this barren open land, and it's sort of like, well, what happened? Like, did civilization die out? Like, there's all these questions that leads you. So I think it's one of those games to where you're just kind of like, am I gonna, I don't know, like, be bright and vivacious, like, or just be barren and sullen. I don't know. Like, that was kind of like my take. Like, it could maybe like a twist on mental health too, if you think about it. Just sort of like the mind and its hallways, and then different dark spots that you have, and there's like places that are boarded up that you don't really like, care to like partake in or visualize or anything. So. It was very simple. I think depending on how you view the world, honestly, would be how you would interpret this game.
Yeah, to me, it sounds like, kind of based on our conversation, that we all would overall support the idea of maybe a couple more minutes or a couple more extra like tidbits to kind of be able to chew on, because I feel like there's definitely something here. I kind of want to go back to what Jordan was saying, because I think that's really fascinating. I guess 2 points. I'm not sure. I guess they are counter to one another, but the whole idea here is this game is in many ways celebrating a city, and the city itself is man-made, right? And that's kind of one of the things where it's kind of embracing, or showcasing this beautiful city that's made by man, but as you said, obviously is mankind's also responsible for environmental devastation here. But then the counterpoint I was thinking about when I was coming up with that was that the city itself isn't necessarily like technologically advanced, so maybe it's more of an example of an advanced city that's also in balance with nature, if that makes sense. Like, you're not seeing it. It seems kind of like it's in line with nature, so to speak. But I thought the dwellers might just be kind of these entities, like humanity's kind of gone, and the entities kind of like deciding who gets to stay, and they feel almost blessed to be there, permanently attached to the city. I don't know if that's much of a blessing or not.
Well, yeah, but I mean, was it there before, or were you there after? You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't really specify if those people were already, like, what if that's their, like, were they there, you know what I mean? And we maybe, like, and who's to say that even has anything to do with humans? Like, maybe it just sort of their civilization as a whole, like, just sort of became these entities. Like, did it evolve to this? Or, was this just kind of how they always have been? And, maybe like some, like some tragedy struck and some, everyone died and then turned into these things. And then there's all these, like, this barren world. Like, it reminded me too of like, it's always, I don't know what Star Trek it was, but when they had like, it was like this red, or maybe it was a movie, I don't know, but it was like this red mist, that was like out, and they had to wear these suits to kind of go out and like, I don't know, maybe I'm thinking of something else.
Beginning of the movie when they're saving those people.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, kind of like that, yeah, but definitely more like The Happening, though.
Yeah, there's a lot of folks talking about The Happening in the chat.
Yes.
I actually never fully watched it. I see Layla's comments that the acting is corny, which... wasn't Mark Wahlberg in it, I think?
Mark Wahlberg is in it.
It was the girl he was with.
Oh, that Zoe Deschanel or something, yeah.
The French was
Zoe Deschanel?
I do like me some Zoe Deschanel. I think she's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, but she didn't, I don't know, like, they didn't...
But like a more dramatic role for him?
But it was all... But it's in like a movie, you know what I mean? His movies are kind of like... You have to watch his movies like 3 times to get it, really.
It's just, like, her reactions to things were just so cringy to me.
Yeah,
Like
she
it took me
cannot pull off dramatic.
forever. Yes, yes, and even like the other people or the other actors, like whenever they go to the house and like, you better not bring that gas in here, and I just started cracking up because like the acting, it just threw me off. I made it all the way to the end, but the idea of the movie of like the gas or the plants finally like you said having enough, and they just created a whole chemical that just murdered the entire or just murdered everyone. So like
Yeah.
decrease their population to decrease the population.
Kind of like to bring balance to nature, sort of situation.
Yeah.
It's an interesting
like the
idea.
snap.
It's yeah, it's interesting for sure. I do see though that the King of the Nerds and Mystic Tightness are fans of the movie, so I need you guys to defend yourself in the chat. Because I'm pretty sure if I went on Metacritic right now, along with many other M. Night Shyamalan movies, this one's probably not too highly regarded there. La Slaw on Twitch is saying, sounds like a purgatory-ish game. My curiosity is piqued. That's an interesting analysis. Yeah, like that this is somewhat of a purgatory. How do you all feel about that? That maybe like...
I can see it. I can see
Yeah.
it. I love games that are like this that just kind of leaves it open to interpretation. It's just sort of like an open-ended world, an open-ended game. I love that stuff because each one of us, took our own little sort of gist from it, and saw it, felt it, played it in a different way. And I think that's I love games like this. These are my favorite type of indies that just kind of leaves the conversation open to whatever.
Yeah, I like that.
Agreed.
Like, how many of you guys are into that? Like, how many of you would prefer, like I guess enough subtlety, or that's not the right word in this case. It's more so more questions left unanswered. Is that I hear what you're saying, Legend. That's your jam right there. What about the rest of you? Do you prefer things more explained or more questions left unanswered and open to interpretation?
I like
I
both.
would say I like both with enough to like. I just feel like there wasn't enough to make me go on that dive to have my own opinion.
short.
Or like, yes, that was definitely the problem for me. I will say so because I like it because you guys know I'll go on a deep dive on what could have happened and how everybody feels about everything. So it just for some reason, I think it was too short for me to do that with this.
Not enough to delve into. I feel you.
Yeah.
I went into it thinking these are like 5 to 10 minute games, so I figured it would be mega basic, and I liked it was like pretty and minimalist and intriguing, and I was fine with it. Like I like both kinds, so depending on what I'm in the mood for or if I'm like mentally prepared, because if I'm going in thinking like, oh, I need this to be explained, and then it doesn't, then I'm like annoyed. But this time I didn't do that, and it was interesting, and I had my own interpretation and whatever, so it can be really cool.
Yeah. Derivative, how about you?
My mindset depends on whether or not it is a AAA company or an indie. If it's a AAA that pulls it, I'm like, okay, this is just bullshit they're doing to kind of hype up a sequel. And when it's an indie, it's like, okay, this is probably going to be a one-off. They're meaning for you to interpret it wherever. If Mass Effect pulls it, you're like, oh fuck, they're just trying to milk another game.
Sorry, I coughed through that. I drank water. I'm still coughing.
Four Loko, walk it down with your Four Loko.
I'm just like doing both at the same time.
Oh,
sorry. No, I feel you. I think it's an interesting. I think it requires some nuance and balance depending on the game and what you're trying to deliver. I like what Star Skull 999, which I should say is one of the devs behind Spirit Cleaning, which we're excited to talk about tonight as well. Again, shout out to all the devs in the building. If you are one of the devs, feel free to, feel free to say who you are and like that you're behind this stuff. Brag about your stuff. We're enjoying talking about it. But Star Skull says, let's see. I like it when there's a deeper meaning that the writer had in mind, but it's pretty hidden. Yeah, I think like when you have to put in a little bit of work, I think that's always interesting too, for sure. King of the Nerds saying yes because I have a huge crush on Aubrey Plaza. I've seen crushes on Aubrey Plaza, crushes on Zoe Deschanel. Let us know who your crush is in the chat. We want to know. That's our next big question for you. Who's your crush? Yeah. Any other last words? I know we got 3 more games still to cover. Any last words about City of Muse?
I would just say check it out. It's
Yeah.
only going to take 5 minutes of your time.
Yep.
Coffee
Do
break if
it.
you need to. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Sweet.
Really do it.
Well, that was City of Muse. Again, shout out to the developer Nikolai Ushakov. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Really appreciate it for sure. Let's switch on over to our next game. So we talked, panel, whether we were going to do Spirit Cleaning or Atoll the Last Ghost. Which one do you guys want to do first? I think having both of those back to back will be a good conversation.
I'm done to do spirit cleaning.
All right, let's jump into Spirit Cleaning. Let me change the... Let me actually check also to see if Spirit Cleaning is tagged in Twitch or not. Don't see it in there.
Yeah, I don't believe it is. I've been kind of slacking on that.
Yeah, this one, I know... I saw on several sites pop up, but it was actually derivative. Oh god, that is not the trailer for Spirit Cleaning, guys. That is Courtney the doll. So that is not Spirit Cleaning.
We do not invoke the spirit of
This
Courtney.
is Spirit
Oh
Cleaning.
my
Right.
god.
The developers are like, oh my god, that's not our game.
No, I would say I would absolutely love a horror game akin to something like a Five Nights at Freddy's with Courtney.
No,
Yes.
I don't know.
Can you
Oh
please?
no.
Someone needs to do that.
Except
right
it's
now.
Mike. Mike's soul was infused in the Courtney doll.
Oh my
Yes.
god. I don't
Can
know
we
whether to
please
love
do
that
this?
or not.
I was about to say he loves it. We hate it. It's horror.
I think I'm actually going to try to get a Courtney doll for my birthday come this summer. We'll see. I think my family keeps
Oh,
joking about it. Speaking of which, before we jump into this, I guess it's kind of related to all this. Any of you guys seen that new Nicolas Cage movie, Willy's World? It's like based on Five
I
Nights at
want
Freddy's.
to, but it's like $20 to rent.
Oh no, I have not.
It's
I haven't heard of it.
I don't know whether to recommend it or not. I enjoyed watching it, but it was also it's one of those bad movies that's fun to watch. But
Oh goodness.
check that out and you get the chance. All right, so let's jump into discussing Spirit Cleaning. Let me drop this in the chat. Again, thanks to Derivative here for recommending it for this specific show. So Spirit Cleaning comes from... I want to give a shout out to all the developers involved because I know a lot of you guys, appreciate you a lot, have been retweeting this, liking, sharing, all of this stuff, and several of you are in the building today. So shout out to Harry Petch, Star Skull, CEO of Bad Art, Eric Sheeter, Alan Rutledge. Shout out to the whole team behind this game. Let me give a brief description before we go into it. Spirit Cleaning, we should say, on their own website, they estimate it's about 45 minutes to an hour. Spirit Cleaning is an action/visual novel hybrid game where you play as the Cleaner, a spring cleaner visiting a residential house in the suburbs. However, this job isn't a normal one. Each room of the house is haunted by the tragedies that befell its many residents and their bloody crime scenes. And they're all anime girls. All right, let's jump into it. And feel free to the devs in the chat if you want to share some tidbits or throw in
Anime
things,
girls.
feel
Hold
free.
on. Don't mislead these people. They're drawn. They're animated.
Well, that's what their description was. Are they
okay.
not anime girls? Like, what's your... I sense some snobbery coming from Jordan down there. What's...
I mean, I don't know. When I think anime girls, I think like a Japanese anime. I get it had like the cutesiness to it, but
Yeah.
I thought you were trying to make a joke or something. I don't know. I didn't know that.
A Michael
my bad.
joke. No, yeah, I think they're drawn in that style.
Yeah.
For sure. What do you all think about Spirit Cleaning?
I definitely
Me
did.
too.
I enjoyed it as I was going through. And I don't know, the cleaning part was very therapeutic for me. It's like, you know what? I
yeah.
just helped this person, and now I get to, like, they've given me permission to touch their things and clean up for them. Like, it just felt like it was part of the assisting and guiding, that's going on through the game. Like, you get to hear their story, or so for everybody else, you encounter these spirits, obviously, and then you get to hear their story in this space that they're in. And as you go, you hear their problems or whatever happened. You get to guide them or like kind of walk them through it, but you don't say much, which is the cool thing about it. that I liked is that you don't say much and they really process it for themselves, but it's like they're having someone to process it out for themselves with. So I guess like that concept of it I liked, even though you weren't saying anything a lot, like your responses were very short. They were working everything out themselves for the most part.
I love that.
That's awesome.
Right, and then you get to clean up and like let them free. It's awesome. I like
to
that.
jump off of your first point. You know, you guys know you guys ever do the thing where like you clean your room or you clean something up to kind of calm yourself down, or like after doing something emotional, you just clean and organize your things, and that helps you get your mind right. Does anyone else know what I'm
I wish
talking
I
about?
did more of that. If
Me
the camera
too.
pans around here, it's full chaos.
Oh God,
Me too.
that's how I felt. Like Layla said, it was like you just went through this emotional thing, mostly because it was emotional for them, and you're just kind of going through it and helping them, and then you're like, okay, that's done. The hard part's done. Now let's just clean up and reset and calm myself down. It was a really cute, interesting, like gameplay loop. I suppose it was. I really liked it.
Yeah.
And a lot of them do actually know that they are spirits. I think there was one that does not.
Yeah.
Yes, there is. There's the I want to say the old timey was like Victorian era.
Yeah.
No, you're the ghost one.
Yeah.
Which was awesome. That was a nice.
Polly. Yeah.
Oh, Polly. Yeah.
Yes, a little guy. It's Polly. Yes, Lady Polly.
Who thought she was like doing a seance sort of situation, not
Yes.
realizing that she was a ghost herself.
Wasn't her last name like Turgeist or something?
Yeah, something like
Oh, yeah,
that.
Polly
Polly
Turgeist.
yeah.
And when you were talking, one of the lines was like, "That's the spirit." I was like,
Yeah, the writing was
my
really
God.
solid.
Cool.
Yeah.
I really
the
liked
names
the
are all
writing.
like puns.
Yeah, it really
Yeah.
made the characters come to life, and you got a sense of like who they were, before and in the ghost world. I really love what Layla said as far as the dialogue system, which I didn't think about much, but that's totally true. I think like the whole idea is like you're kind of like a shoulder or like an ear or like somebody to listen to, right? Like your presence there is like therapeutic to them because they can kind of share and process their situation in life, and just your mere presence and willingness to listen like means a lot to them. And so it's really fascinating going through all these rooms, talking to all these different ghosts who met their demises in different ways, and then cleaning up the mess, the bloodied mess afterward. Legend, what were your thoughts about this one?
Crime scene cleanup.
Crime
Like,
Clean.
my like immediate thought was like, yo, like that's like, I don't read too much into like when I first, I kind of like to explore while I'm in the game, but yeah, as soon as I hopped in it and like everything started, I was like, crime scene cleanup, here we go, like.
Yeah.
But it was very cathartic hearing their stories and I guess giving them a chance to sort of like shed the rest of their life to properly move on, but yeah, I mean, I was like pew pew. Like, it was I agree that it was very therapeutic, but it was cool. Like I would just like do and like and do and walking around, and you're listening to like these people just sort of like just share the rest of themselves to you, and then they just it was really cathartic. It was really cathartic.
Yeah, I absolutely love the writing. I'm gonna read some of the comments here and give a shout out to in the chat right now. LOL Guy and Starskull999 are two of the devs involved in this game, and they nicely said that if you guys have any questions, any of us or any folks in the chat, that they're going to be happy to answer those. So be thinking about those while we read through the comments. Let me sift through these comments where I think people are talking about their crushes for Carl Urban. I'm pretty sure. I just see Carl Urban.
You could just click through. That's nothing.
He's
That's
a good-looking
fine.
guy for sure. I'll like throw in my hat for Carl Urban as well. It does seem like our boy Jordan here might have caused a little bit of a stir with his anime girls comment because several people say the anime style defied anime girls. Jordan, how can you not simp from? I gotta catch some of these. And then LOL guy said, I would argue they are anime girls. Laslaw, I know you made fun of me, Jordan. Is it not pronounced Laslaw? I don't know. I'm trying my best here. They're kind of like anime girls, almost like chibi. there's a lot of Nick Cage comments in here. I'm trying to get through. LOL guy, one of the devs said, "Yeah, we got a lot of feedback about the cleaning being therapeutic. Good stuff with Skull 999's code." Yeah, one more other thing right here. LOL guy has a fun fact. It was partially intentional. You don't say much, but we realized that making dialogue button prompts gets really messy with flowcharts and sequencing really quickly. So it's a creative limitation to go through. Yeah, very interesting. I was wondering about that as well. I think ultimately that creative, as oftentimes creative limitations do, they kind of can breed some really interesting gameplay choices. Lasla, which I'm sorry, I'll keep pronouncing you like that until you correct me, saying this game would not be ideal for my OCD. It might actually be good for your OCD because like after the cleaning process, things feel a bit more proper. Benzo saying, "Why does this look like Dexter version of Mario Sunshine?"
I missed that part. I did not see that.
That is excellent. Yes, I think that is.
The inside of the house reminded me it was very Sim. Like I felt like I was inside something like someone had made in The Sims. It was very just like
like a suburban family home.
Yeah, totally like a suburban home. Yeah, and it was neat because like as I was spraying it, I kept thinking like this sprays like CLR, you know, like and everything just disappears. Or the OxyClean. It was all purple and like
yeah. So we got a great question from one of the developers that this is for you all. LOL guy saying, "I have a question for you all. Who's the best girl?" So who is your favorite person that you encountered in this experience? This is tough. Derivative.
Johnson.
I hear Derivative and Layla. Let's start with you two. Derivative, what was yours?
Carly the car.
You want to talk about?
Like the sheer amount of rambling the car did. I felt a kindred spirit, even though I'm not a car person.
I thought my mouse was broken.
I literally wrote that down. I was like, oh my god. Because I thought it was a bug in the game.
Me
I was
too.
Like, did my game bug? It's going so fast. Like, how do I? And I was like, oh, he's rambling. I identify with this. This is nice.
Not only rambling, but like recognizing it in like the fact that it just feels like the apologizing for it. A very kind of low self-esteem thing. But like not knowing when to shut your mouth, basically.
We all of these characters like we know in some form or have met in some form, like, you know what I mean? Like that's I think is really interesting for sure. Layla, who's yours?
Mine is Fortnite for sure. I loved her just because I just related so much with her.
What about her?
Just obviously the streaming part of everything,
Sure.
the like she was like worried about the analytics of like, if I don't do this, then the analytics gonna be off, and I have to do this. Oh, don't forget about the coffee. Like she's like just promoting and all this stuff, and it's like it feels like there's 10,000 things going on. And I did actually have a question about her. Did the coffee kill her? I wanted to know what exactly. Cause I missed that part. I don't know what exactly killed her, but as much as she like,
I took it as like the energy drinks, like
that.
She had like a
coffee energy drink.
She like streamed herself to death
with it, but she had to like constantly be drinking it. That's why I recommended this game initially, was that I thought it was seemed perfect for it to have someone a ghost die from overdosing on G Fuel.
Let me do a line real quick.
In all caps, like gamer gasoline. It's Mike and G Fuel. Oh my god.
I feel like we're going to need a disclaimer here at some point to be like very clear that no one should be snorting G Fuel. I've never done it before. I wouldn't recommend it. If you want to be cool like me, stay away from the G Fuel.
Yeah, just get the shades. You want to be cool like Mike, get shades.
Gosh, I'm just realizing how tight. Like these lights are really strong. Like I'm sweating with sunglasses on. Let me lower these.
Sweating? Oh. Okay.
Sweating on your face is nothing compared to boob sweat, though.
Tell us what you think about boob sweat in the chat. No. Okay.
Then we're gonna get into conversations about Carl Urban and.
Then it goes down that entire rabbit hole. LOL guy is saying, great choice, definitely the most fun character to write. Fortnite Johnson. Star Skull saying, the original plan was to have you cleaning up actual crime scenes, and the twist would be that since you cleaned it up, there wouldn't be any evidence to give them justice. Ooh, very interesting.
Wow.
Lasla saying, oh man, I'm a sim for a good dating sim. Legend.
Me too. We'll
Dating
say.
sims are interesting.
They're funny.
Legend. I like them overall. We've played quite a few dating sims on here, right? Like I'm
Yeah,
not the
we've played
best
them
at them.
often.
I try to figure them out a little bit. Legend and Jordan, who's your favorite character in the game?
I mean, not to copy them two, but like literally, Fortnite Johnson and the car were both. I identified with them in different ways. Like the car rambling, but then being embarrassed about it and trying to work on it. And then Fortnite Johnson, I literally was like writing notes to myself like, "This is me." Also, you know, I don't know if they force you to do it in an order, other than the worker tells you need to talk to Fortnite Johnson before you talk to the worker. But I talked to.
I think that might be the only one.
Yeah, I talked to Polly Turgeist right when I got to the top of the stairs, and they were like, "Yeah, I keep hearing yells about epic wins and VPN. Is that some kind of god?" And I'm like, "A VPN sponsor? Oh my god, they have a streamer in this game, don't they?" So I was already excited and prepped for it.
I love that.
And yeah, just some of the funniest lines, just like it's a gamer girl, like that's me. It was awesome. No, I was like, "Oh man, I'm feeling really poo stinky right now." I was like, dude, I literally say shit like that. Like I curse and stuff all the time. I don't care. But when someone's being like an a-hole, I'm just like, wow, yeah, he was being a poo-poo meanie head. Like I literally say shit like that. So I really. Oh, she said brain hurty. My friend last weekend, who I was talking to, literally said, "Oh yeah, brain hurty sometimes." It was just perfect. Like
that reminds me of Rick and Morty. When Rick they dumb him down so that he can like not be a threat on the plane.
Oh yeah.
He's like, brain hurty. He's like drooling, but he's always drooling because he's always drunk. But
yeah, I love all these personalities that they explored here. I mean, I think it's a testament to the game and the creators here that there weren't any like bad ghosts. I think it's just like different type of ghosts. Like I really felt for the first ghost I encountered, which was the one in the kitchen. Like that really that you know, it was like different tone depending on which ghost you're talking to.
I related it to Catherine.
Yeah, it just was sad.
I know y'all wanted to be like all in the feels about the gamer thing, which I also was like, yo, I laughed really hard at that. Because it's like everybody. It's like everybody. But I related to Catherine, man.
Yeah.
Like she was like, you know, as a parent, not that I would want to get killed by my husband, but I'm just saying, like, she was just like, you know, I wonder how the kids are doing. Like, how are they?
It was sad.
You know, then I was like, you know, I wonder, do they know, like, that their dad, like, killed their mom? And then I was like, why are you cleaning this up, girl? Like, you need to call the police.
Yeah.
What are you doing? She's literally telling. I mean, but then you'd be like, so what happened here? Well, this ghost Catherine told me that her husband came behind her and stuff. Like it was, I was kind of having fun with it too because I thought that was just so like. And I'm like deep into true crime dramas. I watch all like I've been watching live. I've been obsessed with watching like live court cases on Court TV on YouTube. Like live streaming and like podcasts and stuff. So I was like, yo, like that was right up my alley. Like I was feeling Catherine right there. I could have solved her crime. Y'all should have went down that rabbit hole. I would have done it. Exactly like the news.
I felt for her for sure. Yeah, it actually leads me to a question for you all and for the devs. Like I got the sense that what you were actually cleaning was not like actually present day crime blood, right? Because
absolutely no way it could be.
Okay. Because my interpretation was that all of these people were people that inhabited this house at some form of time, right? Like we had the lady at the top, the seance lady from 1850, and we had everybody else. Maybe she was just in that land, what have you. But the whole idea that all of these crimes could have happened at once didn't make sense, right? So it had to have been like these were just kind of remnants, memories, like things kind of haunting these ghosts, and you were kind of doing like the spirit cleaning, the deep cleaning to kind of...
Yeah. I completely agree. I feel like unless the murderers were all like finger painters or something and just crawling on the ceiling,
you saw the hands.
You know, then I don't think so.
Plates, that was definitely great.
Yeah.
And I was about to say, you know, the clip just showed him cleaning the plates. A big thing of the siblings' argument was that one of them never cleaned, one of them never did the dishes and stuff. So I think you're right. It's like residual negativity and stuff that has to do with their murder or whatever. are on certain objects or just around, and I think that's what you have to clean. I agree.
Well, there's a
Yeah,
lot of
I agree with
environmental
Atlanta.
storytelling inside of the room, especially with the kitchen.
Mhm.
Like you saw things like because she was stabbed by her husband, and you could see like remnants on the knife, things like that. Like there was some
Good
good
point.
environmental storytelling in that particular room.
Good point.
And then the stuff in Fortnite Johnson's room with the
VR and
Space
headsets.
Invaders.
Yeah, yeah.
That was so cute. It was
That was
Space
awesome.
Invaders.
Yes, that was amazing. That was amazing. I loved that part too. My other favorite person was definitely Polly because I relate to her a lot too, with like the whole spiritual stuff and whatnot.
Mm.
But Polly is definitely my second favorite for sure.
I just would like to report to everybody that it is not Laslaw, it is Laszlo, as in Camp Laszlo. Just would like to correct that officially for the internet here. Laszlo also.
That cartoon was weird, but it was alright.
Mm-hmm.
It came on at like the same time, like after so you just kind of ended up watching it anyway.
She's
You
gonna hate
know, but
this.
it wasn't bad.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was the
She's
Rocko's
gonna hate
Modern
this
Life
'cause
animators, I believe.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
It's not named after the show. She just used that as a enunciation reference.
Oh, gotcha.
Oh, well, it's a good enunciation reference. Okay.
Star Skull's confirming that the energy drinks and the overworking was the killing blow.
Yes.
You know, the concept of time in that game was a little weird. Obviously, with Polly Tergeist, 150 years went by and she didn't even know. And once that had already prepped my brain that like these ghosts aren't sure what's going on, whatever. When the worker said like today, she had 4 of those drinks when she normally doesn't. It's like, was that actually today in her death, or is it like Layla said, it was the last day she lived?
The game
and she had
straight up
4
had
and died?
said that basically her contract was still going on in her death.
That's true.
She was still chilling that stuff.
Also, there was a curious thing there where it was like a sponsor or a game streaming site or something that we thought was dead actually isn't. So I'm thinking like, I don't know if there was deeper meaning to it, but maybe like you guys named other streaming sites. Is there a streaming site that like, I don't remember exactly what the word said, but I feel like there was some hidden meaning there of like, this product died in the sense that no one uses it anymore, but because she's dead, they're both in the realm of the dead. Therefore, that's her sponsor. Does that make sense?
There are
Almost
games like that.
Almost like if Dreamcast was her rest in peace, was her like, the only game she was allowed to play because she's dead and Dreamcast is dead.
It kind of reminds me
That's
of
what I'm
No
getting at.
Players Online. Remember we covered that game last year? Like the whole idea of kind of like an online game that no one's playing, but it's still like the servers are on, mysteriously so. Yeah, that's interesting. A couple more notes here. LOL guy, again, one of the devs, who said we can call him Harry if it's easier. Appreciate that, Harry. He said, you folks might have gotten some deja vu from the house asset. The whole jam is made with HQ Residential House, a popular overused horror asset, and the game was made for the HQ Residential House jam. It has a lot of very cool games in it. I'd recommend checking them out. I can send my recommendation if you'd like. Yeah, please do. That would be absolutely awesome. Shout out to Andre Arcade. Really appreciate you, man, hosting the views and joining us in the chat for sure. Thank you. We have Derivative with the ghost dab and Layla with the alive dab. Yitzlit. Hold on, am I pronouncing? Oh, God, I'm just horrible at pronunciation today.
It's pronounced Laszlo.
Is it another Laszlo?
Yeah.
Everybody who joins the chat, and if I can't pronounce your name, you're going to be called Laslaw from now on. Welcome, Laslaw. LOL guys saying Fortnite Johnson is a really big inside joke I have in the endless empty Discord. Fortnite Johnson would always be the character name when you could write it in. It got way out of hand to the point where it's now in the game. I love that. Where inside jokes, that something like deeply personal to you makes it deep in the game. And also he's saying that Catherine in the kitchen and Fortnite Johnson the gamer are the only sort of scripted ones, but you can do them in any order. Yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff in here. Definitely would be curious to hear what everybody else in the chat thinks about this if you're wanting to check it out. It sounds like we're all really pleased with it and recommending it. It did remind me a bit of a series of games that I really haven't played, but I think it's pronounced Viscera Cleanup Duty. Where you're kind of
Viscera.
Yeah.
Viscera, okay, and you're like cleaning up after, like, you're essentially the cleanup crew that comes in after like Doom Guy or Gordon Freeman like beats a level, and you just have to clean up the whole place, which I thought.
Yeah, I like that. I actually really like that concept because you always wonder about that stuff and like when they in like in Times Square when they like other people who have to. I wonder who cleans that shit up. Like it's like I wonder who does it after. Like who's gonna do all the cleanup?
Exactly.
When Marvel superheroes come tearing through your town, like is there a job for that?
Yeah. Yeah, the devs also are telling us that we're correct in like these are different people that inhabited the house at different times. It's kind of like a purgatorial holding state that they carried kind of the mental trap of like work and their jobs into the afterlife, so they live into a purgatory of their own creation. There's a lot of cool stuff there to go on. I think we just
I would say
Layla.
So here's a little bit of a conspiracy theory. Maybe you're a ghost as well. You go into the bathroom and things like that, you don't see your reflection.
Is it like Vaneless Property where the designer told us that he didn't want to he shattered the mirror because he didn't want to do the reflection, the tech behind it? LOL guy on Star Skull, I don't know if we want a full confirmation. Maybe we want to keep it a little hidden, but can you tell us?
No, I'm being an asshole because I mentioned that when they were watching me play.
Oh, okay, gotcha. So it's now you guys' inside joke here. Yeah. Yitz is also recommending The Endless Empty if you haven't already. The community around it is also amazing. Cool. We're gonna have to. I think I'm familiar with that game actually. I need to check that out. Hopefully, we'll
but it definitely felt like I was a sim person, just kind of like inside a sim house, just cleaning up residual. Yeah, like you guys were saying, residual negativity from these apparitions. It was. I was like the arm and everything, just total. It was cool. Like the graphics weren't bad. Nothing distasteful as far as like an indie game is concerned. So I'm not trying to talk shit, but it was totally like I was like, oh, like sim vibes. Like this is what it would be like if it was first person Sims.
It was cool to take controls to the first-person shooter controls. Sorry, Joe.
Yeah, that was nice that it switched it.
Yeah.
Did anyone else think like, oh god, is this actually scary or is it just like a spooky theme? Like, I played Phasmaphobia not that long ago, and a lot of the very first places you do is in like just a basic house. So I'm thinking like, oh god, what's happening? And then right off the bat, you talk to Catherine, and you find out the game's like super charming, and I really like it. But then I did the car after that. And I was like walking around to every little corner just because why not? And then the car started flashing. And I think that happens in Phasmophobia when like the lights will go out and the car will start flashing if like that area is haunted and you might be under attack. And I was just like, oh shit. But it wasn't that. It was just a rambling spirit that wanted to move on. It was nice.
Yeah, as we said, there's a lot of cool characters to interact with here and really to dig deep into and discover. Star Skull saying, but leave it up to the creative limitations because the cleaner is not a human of any kind. LOL guy saying, but read into everything. Star Skull saying, I hand painted the normal maps on the bloodstains. Please be nice. I love all this. Also, a fun fact, I believe Star Skull used the model for Soul Man Seed to create the image for bisexual lighting in Wikipedia on Phasmophobia.
Have you ever seen the bisexual lighting Wikipedia page?
I have not seen bisexual.
It is amazing. Like the images used on it.
I don't think. I'm still kind of digging into the whole idea that the cleaner is not a human of any kind. I'm trying to dig into that clue right there. That's got me like my mind going in a different direction. But you're telling me I should Wikipedia or check Google bisexual lighting?
Hey, Layla said that her power went out, but she said it's coming back on right now, so she should be.
Oh no! Yeah, that's her. I think.
That's why she bounced. Yeah.
Bisexual lighting is the Layla's coming at the perfect time.
Nothing about GameStop and still there after you.
Oh, what are we talking about?
Layla, we've switched the theme of the show. We're now
yay!
Bisexual Lighting Club. Bisexual lighting is the simultaneous use of pink, purple, and blue lighting to represent bisexual characters. It has been used in nightclubs as well as in studio lighting for film and television. I'm not familiar with this.
Wait, what are the colors?
Oh, you
What
are
are
the
the
one
colors?
who. No, he's saying that he's the one who came up with the. Are you the one who came up with the colors for the bisexual flag?
It's the skull. The skull.
No,
The
the
skeleton.
actual image on there of the skeleton with the bisexual lighting.
Oh, okay.
amazing.
Oh
What
my
is the
god.
bisexual? What?
You're famous.
I missed it. What were the colors that you said?
Layla, it is pink, purple, and blue. So I'm assuming like the pink and blue hit each other to make the purple. And it's used to represent bisexual characters, but it's also used in nightclubs as well as in studio. How many people in the chat knew about this? I wasn't familiar.
I
with this.
didn't know
But
about
I'm
that.
so happy about that knowledge right there
Yeah,
because my colors are purple and teal and
There you
green.
go.
I was like, this is fucking great. I appreciate that knowledge.
This is wild. We appreciate that. Bisexual lighting. Awesome. Laszlo saying, "Oh my god, this is fantastic.
cool.
I'm so glad." Yit saying, "No, we're just bisexual skeleton guys." Everybody's loving the bisexual lighting. People are editing the Wikipedia page. Don't go too crazy here. True Nirvana knew about this. True Nirvana, can you tell us how you heard about this? I'm curious, like where people. What was your entryway into bisexual lighting, everybody? What was your first experience?
Well, I mean, don't most gamers have bisexual lighting in their studios
I might.
on spot? I mean, that's I mean, if you know a Twitch streamer, somebody's got purple, blue, bisexual lighting in their house. Like, I mean.
Yeah.
This is great. I love this.
Sorry, I came in with laughter and I was reading this. I don't know what I was laughing at right there. Sorry, can you? I'm just like like looking back and forth.
Me and Legend are connecting.
I love it.
Yeah, I definitely know about this, but I haven't gone in like a deep Google search.
This is cool though.
And one of the first things,
Wow.
not one of the first things, I had to go like 20 or 30 images down, is from the movie Moonlight, which is one of
Such
my
a good
favorite movies
movie.
of all time.
Oh, that totally. Even on the cover, right? The cover is the bisexual
Yep,
lighting.
even on the cover.
Yeah.
What a beautiful, amazing
Great movie.
poster. True Nirvana saying, "I have bisexual friends. That's all. Also, I use the lighting scheme in my home because it's fabulous. I feel
It is. Those
Nothing wrong
colors
with
just
being
melt.
fabulous.
Yeah. Those colors melt. Absolutely. They melt together.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to play
That's
with my
funny.
Alexa lights
Well, good
and see that. test
Yeah.
that.
good job, guys, having the famous skeleton on the wiki page.
Yeah, that's awesome. And apparently, I think Yitz is involved with editing the page as well. So shout out to that. Laszlo saying it blew up on Twitter with some film pages too. Yeah, sweet, awesome. Well, I think we all gained quite a bit from our playthrough and conversation of Spirit Cleaning. Can we give a round of applause to the devs who joined us here in the chat? Really appreciate you. Hopefully you can stick around as well. Everybody in the chat,
Thank you,
make
big
sure
boys.
to throw some love their way. Seriously.
Yeah. I do want to say, though, if you are planning on making a Spirit Cleaning 2, it would be cool if maybe there were, like, other cleaning tools. Maybe, like
Like a squeegee?
even, like, having, like, a wiping mechanic or, like, a sponge or something, because then it's more of a personal level than just spritzing from a distance. I guess if you're talking about stories that are intimate to that specific ghost, I
You
think
want to
maybe
really
it might be
scrub
more.
that blood out.
Yeah, like you better like white knuckle it, but yeah, honestly, I think that would be cool. I think it'd be I think it'd probably bring it to a more personal level than just like just squirting, I think that would be cool.
Yeah, I feel you on that. I think that would be cool to have. I will say also that I think, there's 5 ghosts in the game, right? And there's 5 of us.
7, I think.
Was there 7? I'm trying to remember.
I
guess if you
ghosts?
count. Well, I was going to say, can you include us potentially as ghosts? Feel free to use our
7 ghosts.
our images, and
Yes.
we can explain our neuroses for you to make characters.
7 Ghosts, like the movie?
Yeah.
I don't watch that movie.
I mean, I would make clay with you.
Starskull is saying that they considered that legend but they were facing a timeline for a game jam.
Oh no, absolutely,
Yeah.
totally understand. I mean, I'm not saying like the game was great. I think this is like the first week I have not complained about or said anything negative about.
Love
or
it.
not negative. I want to say I like to give constructive criticism.
No, we appreciate
we
it.
all have different different likes and dislikes and stuff. So it's not that I'm negative about games that we've played on Indie Club. It's just that there's some games that I think I'm more fond of than others.
Yeah, of course.
And had more enjoyment in playing than some that are listed. So I don't want to give the impression that like I talk negative about every game. It's just we all have our opinions about
Absolutely,
stuff.
we all have
we're
different
never
tastes.
rude on here ever at all.
No, and
Yeah.
I think devs always like when we give our honest thoughts as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, for sure. And as I see LOL guys saying, keep us updated. Yes, all the devs who are on here, you are part of the Potions and Pixels Indie Game Club family. So yeah, we want to hear from you. We'd love to talk about your games more in the future, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because they were saying that this was a project, right? That it was like the first one.
Like a game jam.
project you were working at.
Yeah.
Yes. So I'm like, I definitely want to see more, because if this is the first one, I'm so excited for everything else that you guys are gonna.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I
This was
definitely
very well
think that
made.
Yeah, and I saw the you were saying something about the Discord. So yes, I definitely want that information so I can stay up to date.
Yeah,
with y'all.
same here actually.
Okay.
Awesome. Yeah, if there's links to do that stuff, yeah, I still need to adjust our. I thought I fixed that stuff. Layla, I know you can posted links, so if you want to post the link in there, that would be awesome.
I gotcha. Right.
Sweet, everybody. Well, that was spirit cleaning. Thanks.
I'm
again
jealous
to
of her
all the-
monitors though. Like for me, that's a little too much. But still, like I liked her setup. It was nice.
Yeah. I'm rolling with a 3-monitor
Nice
setup
setup,
right
yeah.
here.
Nice
I
little
like
setup.
it for sure. Sweet. Well, let's keep that ghost energy going to our
Can
next.
I ask one more question
Yes,
before
please.
we end?
Yes.
Yeah.
What does Fortnite Johnson's shirt say? Like, I
T.
feel like there's more letters.
It says T.
It just says
there's
T.
more letters. Well, no, that's why I just thought was cool is that they just said they invited us to the T server, and I'm just like, that was on Fortnite Johnson's shirt.
Okay, I gotcha. All right.
Nice.
I was thinking there was an extra letter or something like that, or
Hmm.
No, I can see that.
Endless
though.
empty reference. Oh.
True Nirvana asking me what's up with the shades. I don't know. It's just something I've worn like on
He
Indie
just
Game
kind of
Club.
does it. I don't know.
Yeah, I
right?
think
He's doing it like every Thursday almost.
Yeah,
It just
He
becomes
can't
a
be
thing now.
seen without his glasses.
I put on one of these. I had
Yeah,
the Xbox
he
ones
wears
before.
those the
It's
most.
usually the Xbox
You know what?
ones.
It's the fact that your frames right here are black and that's off-putting. I think that's what
You
it's,
prefer the green
yeah,
ones?
I think that's so much better. I
Okay.
think with the dark shades, I don't know, you give sort of like a different vibe. It's a different vibe.
What if I triple?
You should
it?
get more colors, like
I
pink
just
and
am
blue.
God.
Right.
I'm
Ooh,
looking at
add some
Hey,
bisexual
Are there any
lighting.
fashion choices
No.
you guys regret? This is totally unrelated, but I'm just curious. Like, you hear all these Zoomers like on TikTok like criticizing us for like, millennials for skinny jeans and all that other stuff. Like, I don't know why I've been thinking about this lately, but any like fashion choices you guys regret back in the day? Like when you guys triple glasses that. What is yours?
Oh
Layla?
yeah. Oh yeah, there's a lot of mistakes that I've made.
I used to wear, what was it? The stupid spaghetti strap shirts with like a halter puffed up jacket, and like just a style back then.
Like early
really,
2000s.
like,
Yeah, like
I
the with
really,
the
like,
really thin
I
straps and the
Yeah.
and the
Like, I
puffy
don't know.
jacket. Was it the midriff puffy jacket too?
Yes.
Yeah.
That exact one. Yes. All that. All of my mistakes that I've made are free for everyone to look at on my Facebook. I keep them there just because I like to know where I came from. It's very
Right.
humbling for me.
It's good to have history.
You can look at my whole little like glow up that I never had until I was like in my 20s.
Your humble beginnings.
Yes, they're there for everybody to look at. Yep, apple bottoms. Yeah, all that.
Oh, I've been there. Oh yeah,
The early 2000s.
the hip huggers, the bell bottom
wore
jeans, the
Ed
fur boots.
Hardy forever. Like Ed Hardy was my shit. My whole
You know-
car was decked
what,
out
I
with,
like
like
both
Ed
of that.
Hardy covers and everything. I was like had this Ed Hardy
Yeah.
kick.
I like the baby fat.
Man, those
Maybe that
were.
jeans were like my favorite.
I'll
yo.
transition
I
it
love
here
that
because
song.
Derivative and Jordan are really, they're just like, let's move on, guys. But yes, I
I went
don't.
through that
I
weird
know
Brent
the same
stage.
era that you guys are talking about was like when men were wearing like sport athletic gear as if we were going to like a sporting event at all times with like sweatpants and like matching jersey hats. I think that was the most embarrassing time of fashion.
I was
possible.
the Jinko jeans, the Van shoes,
Yeah.
and the Big Dog T-shirts.
Oh yeah, I remember
Oh
those.
yeah.
How big were your Jinkos?
I probably could have had twice the thighs.
Yeah.
Damn. I don't think I went Jinko jean style, but I had a lot looser of clothes. Like I had Vans and I
Yeah.
had loose jeans and loose big extra large shirts, even though I was like a medium or large or something. And
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah.
that was probably my most embarrassing time, I guess. No, hold on. Cargo shorts? Cargo pants? Yeah.
I
I
guess
have
it's
pretty bad,
acceptable
too.
if you're like spelunking or
Ew.
something.
But
I
was
went through the
blonde.
flannel phase. I went through the gangster flannel phase with like the tight shirt and like the big flannel and like the. But I was living in the desert at the time, and it was weird. It was a weird time for me. But I did that like that weird kind of gangster sort of chola look, you know,
Yeah.
because
Oh,
that
yeah.
was like the thing. Yeah, I went through that stage.
Oh man, I
I
wish
used
we
to run
could,
around and do hood rat things all the time. I was
Yeah.
in the hood doing bad shit.
we need to have like
Yeah,
Hood rat things
Yeah.
for friends.
I'm not. Yeah, I'm not proud of it.
we need to share all of our photos. Everybody in the chat, while we're transitioning to the next game, let us know what your most embarrassing fashion choice was, and if you plan on transitioning to keep these Zoomers at bay. But shout out also again to LOL guys saying he said thanks so much for playing in the feedback. Yeah, for sure. Really
I
appreciate
liked it. I was
Really
kind of
appreciate
hoping
you.
not to like this game, to be a little honest with you, because this lineup this week was pretty good. Like I wanted something that
You
I
need
didn't
something
like
to
about a game
criticize.
to be able to, like,
Fair.
you know, to talk about it. But I feel like everything about this was really well rounded. Could there have been a little bit more mechanical wise? Yeah, you know, whatever. But I think the whole important part of it is just the storyline. It's, oh my god, when you zoom in, I just saw the thing. That's totally the Phasmaphobia house. You're right. You're right, it is. LOL. Okay. Anyway, yeah, like it's more of an in-depth storyline than it is just sort of gameplay itself. It's more so just you interacting with the characters than you know, sort of the environment around you so much.
Yeah.
So I liked it. Yeah, it was good. And I liked the itch page, honestly. Like the cute little sketchy thing
Yeah,
was
for
like,
sure.
oh, cute. Yeah.
Yeah, speaking of which, let me make sure one more time I dropped that in there.
I liked all of it.
LOL guy said that final little point from our artist that they're making a reverse Splatoon, which I think is pretty interesting. There, kind of, it does feel that way where you're getting rid of the paint. We got a couple more fashion things. Mystic saying, what the side parts, apple bottoms. I feel ya.
Confused about the middle part thing. Like I can't help where my hair lays, okay?
I can't do the middle part.
I can't. Like even my hairdresser, like I've tried to do middle part and he's always like, no, you can't. Like your part is here. Like it's just not gonna work with you. Like
I mean,
I
always had a
can't middle
side bang.
part.
all these
That's
That's the one thing I
Zoomers.
never grew up out of. I've always had a side bang. And
I bangs, but my kids, they don't like bangs. They don't like my hair in my face. So it's like I've never had an opportunity to have those back, but I miss those. I miss the side
You'll be
sweeping.
adult. You gotta put your foot down.
I know, but when you're a parent, it's those little things. It's weird. It's like when the little kid, I don't know, like when you're a dad and you have a beard and then you don't have a beard, like those videos, and then the baby cries because they don't recognize you. Yeah,
That's
dude.
fair.
One time when I first had my firstborn, this is such a like totally off topic, but yeah, like it had been a week, right? Because I just had the baby. It had been a week that I hadn't taken a shower, so I was like, I'm gonna take a shower, right? I took a shower, and like my daughter wouldn't come to me, so my mom was like, "Go outside, like rub yourself in dirt," because
Oh my God.
I'd cleaned myself, like sometimes they like certain things a certain way, and you don't want to mess with
That's
that.
fair. That's fair.
All these styles, it's all cyclical. Like all these little Zoomers making jokes, like they're dressing how we were in the '90s, like dressing like crazy Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, like style color combinations, and
Like the whole eagle thing, that's not new. Okay, I
Yeah.
wore those clothes. I've been that.
Yeah,
That's not new.
it's yeah.
That's not new, guys.
Get off my lawn, you kids. Let's let's jump to this new. As a parent of a Zoomer and a Generation Alpha kid, I'm sure I'll have plenty more complaints in the future. Let's jump over to this next game. Oh, one final thing from LOL guys saying, CEO of Bad Art, which is part of the dev team, says thanks for the support, and also for the she did the art for the itch page. So let's make sure to highlight that for sure. Yes,
I liked it. It was.
I love the
cutesy.
name CEO of Bad Art. That's awesome. Laszlo saying to Layla, it's so tempting to go back, but I pay homage to those days by always singing My Chemical Romance at karaoke. I'm too scared of teens to go back into Hot Topic. And Mystic coming through with that just be you. Darth Saboba, make your own style. I love how supportive everybody is in here. Star Skull saying e-boys are going to be the ridicule of the future. Yeah, it's wild, like all the styles are, especially how things are changing.
Pink goth. I think that's my favorite aesthetic right now. It's just like the candy goth and the pastel goth. Like I like how they can take something that, in my day, it used to be so dark and drab, and they've really like lightened it up and but still keeping with the same, the same vibe. Like I've always wanted to be a pastel goth. It's like been a secret of mine.
I'm going for a daddy
Do
vibe.
it.
Millennial dad.
Millennial dad.
Is that a cool vibe? I don't know what that is.
Dab and dad.
That's probably
That is
some sort of
literally-
search term I
Dab
shouldn't
and dad.
actually mention or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
All right.
Is there an e-dad?
Yeah. I don't know.
Is there an you know
That's-
what? Make one. Mike, you just do it.
I hesitate to
Make-
Google
make
it because I just assume it's like some Pornhub category or something. I need to stay away from all this. LOL guys saying, really sorry, but it's 1:45 a.m. over there, and they need to dip out, but I'll check out the rest of the VOD. Thanks so much for sticking around. 1:45? Commitment. Appreciate you so much.
Right.
Yeah, thank you all for joining so much. Let's jump to this next game, y'all, because we still got two more here. This is called Atoll: The Last Ghost. I saw it featured both on by Alpha Beta Gamer / Free Game Planet, as well as Indie Games Plus. It's a very short description. After the first incident, the world was haunted. Assemble your team of ghosts and bring this world to salvation. I think I'm definitely going to toss it over to Derivative here and force him to tell us what this or force him to tell the everyone out there what this game is about. I really enjoyed this, and I have a lot of things to say about it, but he's always the best with getting the foundation.
Yeah, so like the previous game, there is the cleansing of spirits in this one, except in this case you're straight up attacking or trying to converse with them. There are certain spirits that you can recruit them into your party, not quite to the level of something like a Shin Megami Tensei, but enough where it will add to like your stats, where like you're doing more attack or you've got more HP.
Yeah, no, that's a great description there, and we should give a shout out to the dev is in the building, Spookle McBoogle.
Yes.
Shout out to Spookle McBoogle. I love
Great username.
yeah, absolutely
I
great
love
username. Spookle McBoogle also is saying that they're available to answer any questions. Derivative, you want to talk a bit about like the exploration features and things like that, and those other kind of components?
Yeah. So I mean, there's limited interactions you can do with it. You're basically just left to right. It's a very kind of simplistic in that sense, but where this game really shines is in the art direction.
Mm-hmm.
The design on these ghosts are phenomenal. Like you can tell straight up you're dealing with an evil spirit.
Yeah.
By like, they've got this very ominous presence. There's one of the other spirits that I got a little bit of an ominous presence too, but I think it's just because it was an old guy that I felt that way. But yeah, I love the way this game looked.
Yeah, it's a really unique game. There's a lot I think to say about it. It's also very short. I think it's like a 10 minutes or so. I think is about how long it takes to play. And it reminds me of our earlier conversation about City of Muse, where there's just enough kind of tidbits to kind of explore, maybe even more so in this case, to kind of grab hold of the story and run with. Jordan, what were your thoughts about this one?
Was this one a game jam as well?
I don't believe so. I'm not sure. I can look though.
I definitely, felt that this, I think I saw that all these were going to be short this week, and that didn't stop me
Yes,
from
it
once
was
the
made
game.
for a game jam. Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. That
For
makes
the
sense
Bracky's
because it's
Game
like
Jam, quite a famous one.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, fun game, basically like a text-based game, like a text-based adventure. Like you click to add someone to your party, you click to attack, click to do this, but then there's a visual element added in there too, where, like Derivative was saying, the environments and the people, or the ghosts, the enemies or allies, they have like the scratchiness to it. It looks really, really cool. I definitely, once I got an ally or two, I play a lot of games, so your brain thinks like, oh, they're set up in a grid. You're like, so that means there might be 9 ghosts to get on my
That's what
team.
I thought too.
But the game, obviously is short or unfinished. It's a game jam, so you can't really expect a ton of content. But for what it was fun. This is kind of out of left field, but I feel like I remember when I was like 16 or something, daydreaming about games like this, like almost like a text adventure, and you're like in a laboratory and you're just clicking, do I go here or do I do this? But I wasn't, this obviously has like combat and like speech and that stuff, so it has a little more elements than I was thinking.
It's
but
funny
I like
what you mentioned there, though. Like, kind of, it reminded me. Yeah, it really did remind me of like early Mac games that I played at school. Like, I got that vibe. Because to be honest, I wasn't actually sure, if I'm being totally honest, whether I would like this or not. Just it was. There's a lot of interesting like choices here, but I found myself really into it just because of the atmosphere, the storytelling, but also that cool feeling about whether the ghosts you're fighting them or they're coming onto your side. So yeah, I got like Oregon Trail, like early vibes of like, I can't remember all the Mac games that we played at school, those early kind of Apple games, but this very much reminded me of that style. We should say the dev, Spookle McBoogle, saying, I had no team. I did everything by myself in 3 days, and now I've been fixing it for weeks. It was made for the jam, so a lot of things failed to materialize. Yeah, Spookle, I'd love, Spookle, if I may call you that, or Mr. or Mrs. McBoogle. I'm not sure.
Yes.
With the formal McBoogle.
McBoogle.
Saying, yes, I keep working on it every day. Awesome. Yeah, I'm curious if you are willing and able to share with your thoughts about where it's going to go. So yeah, Jordan, you brought up a good point. When I saw that, I assumed that there was going to be nine ghosts, because the whole idea is you start with your father who died in a car accident, which you find out, there's like a moment where kind of ghosts entered the realm of humans, and how you were kind of shocked to see your kind of father come through. But as far as I could tell, and I played through the whole game twice, you could only collect up to 4 ghosts. I think that was the max that I was able to get.
I'm trying to remember what that was. There was the old guy. There was.
Did you end up getting the girl?
I got the girl. I did get the girl.
How did you get the girl?
So the key to getting the girl is you gotta
Pokemon it.
You gotta hit her once and then talk to her. Oh. You can't kill her. So if you're too powerful and you like straight up kill her, I think I didn't get her on my first playthrough. I think I got her on my second.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I didn't know whether you could with her or not. Layla, what are you laughing about there?
I'm being stupid. I'm laughing. Just gotta hit her one good time. That's how you get the girl.
Oh God.
That was Layla, not me. I don't endorse that. I'm a modern man.
Funny your conversation, because she was, oh, you got the girl? How'd you get her? He's like, yo, dude, this is how I did it. I did the hardest once, man. How I need it.
It's funny you mentioned that, because I was like, I watched WandaVision with my kids, and I was like remembering some of these old like 40s, 50s sitcoms. And like, if you look back at some of those episodes, it was like totally like acceptable for like the man to just like smack the woman and be like, you're being hysterical. And like 2 hits and it's just like, Jesus Christ, what is going on here?
Yeah, it's funny how they got away with so much, man.
Yeah, seriously, it's really wild. Yeah, where did you guys spend as much time in that subway tunnel as I did? Like, I just like.
What's the highest number of energy drinks and candy bars, whatever you got to?
I think I got about 20 each.
You're pretty much the same. I got like 28 of one and 20 of the
actual play. Yeah.
Yeah, I was loading up on those bars and drinks for sure.
Oh yeah, I was loading up.
Do you guys want to talk about the story a bit? Like Legend, Layla, you guys want to talk about like what is this world, the Atoll, the Last Ghost world, and I guess we can kind of, as we do with Indie Game Club, we are spoiler heavy. Do you want to talk about the endings as well?
I'm not to talk about the endings. I want to know what everyone chose for the most part. And did you go back for the ending part?
First time I went with Sacrifice. That was my first one.
Everyone's got to go for the greater good.
I went with Leave the first time. I went with Sacrifice for the second.
Same. I want to sacrifice for the second.
Yeah, you guys want to, Layla? You want to share like what that choice was? So what you do at the end of the game, and like what the end story reveals.
Oh yeah. Also, I have a question for everybody as well.
Yeah.
But, as you collect your team or whatnot and battle all of these, battle the evil ghosts or evil spirits and whatnot, you get to the ending where you can actually, like, you've learned the stories of, you know, your teammates and whatnot. And you get to make a decision to either sacrifice them so that there are no more ghosts, and or you can leave and allow them to continue being in, I guess, the purgatory situation or whatever that they're in. And I sacrificed the first time because I was assuming it's like, well, I guess that's the goal for the game, you know. So I was just like, okay, well, we're just gonna do that for the greater good. And then like I felt like crap doing it.
Well, because the greater good. Just to elaborate real quick, because the greater good is there's also evil spirits that came in, so it's like a catch-22. Yeah. You get to like communicate with the ghosts of like family members and good ghosts, so to speak, the Caspers of the world. But there's also like demonic ghosts.
Right. Exactly. So it's like purify the world of, you know, evil.
Yeah.
But also you having to give up your friends that you just made. You know, like my favorite, that which leads into my question for everyone after. I guess if Legend wants to chime in also on it, but I want to know what everybody's favorite ghost was, because mine was Ghost Dog.
Ghost Dog. The Forrest Whitaker movie. If no one seen Ghost Dog? Okay.
It was like a man.
I actually liked it. It was a Jim Jarmusch movie. Okay, let me not steer people too off. Layla, why don't you start? You said Ghost Dog?
Yes.
Why Ghost Dog? I think I know.
Because I'm a dog person, but like because it aided a samurai, and I'm just like, yes, that's freaking awesome.
Was that a straight up reference?
It had
it was a companion. It was a companion to a samurai, and I was like, okay, I have this battling freaking samurai trained dog. This is awesome. This is what I want. So that was my favorite.
I'm trying to remember who mine would be. I like them all. I can talk about all of them. Legend, who what about you?
I don't know. I mean, I like this. I don't know. That's a tough one. I mean, Ghost Dog, obviously, because that was like dope. Like, what if the dog knows like ninja moves? You know? I mean, you know, he's stealthy and sneaky. Like, that's gotta be it. Because you would have to be like to have. I mean, you're a ninja and you have a dog. Like, you'd have to be quiet all the time and so obedient. Oh my God.
Yeah, I didn't know this, but to that point, Spookle McBoogle is saying, by the way, you can't hit the dog even if you press the button. A message appears saying that the protagonist will never hurt the animal. I didn't actually try to attack the animal.
I never tried.
Yeah, I never.
None of us attacked the dog. Oh wow.
Not at all. Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's the dog. It's kind of like that thing where animals are not allowed to get hurt in movies.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't care about anyone else, but no one better touch the dog. Or,
yeah, exactly. Like Godzilla kills everybody, but like not the pup. Yeah, I totally feel you on that. So we have the dog, which everybody seems to like. We have your father, which is interesting because he's already with you on the journey, so you don't actually like get to interact with him in that way, except for the endings. You have the girl, which you'd find out tragically drowned herself, which is unfortunate. More than unfortunate. I don't mean to say it like that. But then you have the fourth is the man in the woods, who's just lonely, right? I think.
Yeah, I would say Man in the Woods was my favorite.
Yeah.
Out of all, one I immediately, like as I said, that was the one I thought was possibly an evil spirit, just by design.
Yes.
But then it's got kind of that crazy, Bill Murray goes crazy hair going on.
Yeah.
the way the visuals like flash,
So
like
cool.
something about like his nose or eyes, he did look creepy, but he was cool. He was cool. He's a
So
homie.
cool. I love those visuals.
Yeah.
I liked the graphics in and of itself. Like it felt like The Ring, you know, when
Yeah.
there's that scene
Okay, yeah, I can see
where
that.
she's looking. That's what it reminded me of so much, was that. I love the color scheme of it because it really puts more of an aesthetic onto it. I love the graphics. I was pretty impressed. Like, because at first I thought, you know, the tunnel kind of freaked me out, to be honest. Like, I didn't know what to expect down there, so I was a little tense
Yeah. And you get some
during that scene, because usually things kill you in like tunnels. Like, you encounter there's never a good spirit in a tunnel. So that kind of made me a little apprehensive, but
yeah.
But for 3 days, dude, not bad.
Yeah.
Super impressed with what you were able to put together.
I definitely
in
want
3 days.
more.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's a lot. I mean, we've played games where it's been done in maybe a week, but those are completed games, and to know that you're still working on it, adding more to the story and stuff is dope. Like, I'm excited for it. Like, let us know so we can continue to play it.
Yeah.
And talk about it some more. I'm excited. I'm really excited to see what you've got for sure. I'm down to play it again.
Yeah, for sure. And the mechanics are
But
really
I didn't
simple.
sacrifice it first. I just I left, to
You
be
left,
honest.
yeah, I
and
did
then
too.
I win my second. I did the same thing you did, and then the second time I did the
Yeah.
sacrifice.
And if I'm not mistaken, your father kind of seems to understand either way, right? Like in the sacrifice.
Yeah, but I mean, in the sense that I got from your relationship, it didn't seem to be like very tumultuous, you know. So I think he would have been maybe the type that would have supported whatever decision you made,
Sure.
type deal, you know, type thing.
Yeah. No, I feel you on that. Spookle McBoogle also says, yes, the man in the woods was intended to be a character who is creepy and who we would never talk to, but he's just sad. He is also Spookle's also saying, right now I'm adding more ghosts to the team. I'm also planning a sequel after ending number 2. The first ending is considered good in my mind. The protagonist sort of says goodbye to his father and lets go of the past. So I assume that first ending is the sacrifice ending, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
And so the second ending would be kind of leaving and staying there, and I guess the rift kind of stays open and you explore more of the world.
Yeah, I definitely saw the sacrifice ending as less of a, you know, an evil situation. It was, you were letting go. You're finally ready to let go, and it had the benefit of closing the realm to the evil spirits.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times ghosts do want to move on. I think maybe in certain games and certain circumstances they do stay with you, or they stay like in the realm. But to have that sort of release of spirits was nice. It was a nice touch. You know, definitely was not something that I saw coming.
Guys, who was on the episode we did? Legend, I'm pretty sure you were on there, right? You might have recommended this with the Grim. What's the name? There was like a really cute RPG.
Oh, the Grim Reaper.
Yeah, what was it?
Grim's Hollow.
Grim's Hollow.
Yeah, I love that.
This kind of reminds me of that, like kind of helping ghosts get to their final resting place. And this is why I think it reminds me also of spirit cleaning in many ways, where it's like a lot of these ghosts. This is kind of a modern day ghost, if you will. I don't know. Maybe ghosts in the past were written in that manner as well. But this whole idea that they're kind of complicated entities that don't really understand their own situation.
I think so, and I think in today's world, maybe people would be more open-minded to that aspect of it if it's something that they're familiar with. You know what I mean? For those of us that are into that kind of stuff, you know, I think unless something was being, you know, unless the ghost was being evil, like maybe there's a cause for it, maybe there's a reason for it. Like I would definitely seek professionals, probably like to help me out, but I wouldn't. For me personally, especially since like I've, you know, we've all kind of shared our stories and stuff. And just from my culture, you know, ghosts aren't necessarily a threat. You know, it's more just sort of a spirit that's just sort of stuck. And so it's nice to see games like this where you're not just trying to, like Phasmaphobia, you know, you're just trying to like investigate, get the fuck out, you know, like do what you gotta do and live, you know. But I like this twist on things. It's nice to have games that are more like this instead of just, you know, death and destruction all the time and evil spirits and stuff, you know?
Yeah. It does make me wonder.
Other games that we played.
You say that again, Legend?
It's different than the other games that we've played.
No, for sure.
It has this type of like aesthetic to it, this look to it.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, for sure. So my question, I guess, to you guys, I was thinking about while I was playing this, is if this happened in real life, if you had an opportunity to, I guess, interact with loved ones who came back as ghosts, but then also, unfortunately, the side effect is also that we also have evil ghosts, evil spirits in the world. Is this something that you would want to, sacrifice the good ghosts, or you would actually be fine? Layla,
I think
what would you do?
I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it.
Wouldn't do what?
I wouldn't do the sacrifice if I had the opportunity. And I think what I've relied on the fact that the games that we've been playing recently, that you can go back and do it.
Yeah.
I think I've been relying on that a lot. So I think I want to start changing my perspective of if like I didn't have that opportunity.
If you only had one choice.
Yes.
Gotcha.
But if I had the choice to do that like in real life, I wouldn't do it, just because even though like the conversations I've had with you about things that I've gone through, and I still I think that's my perspective. I've already dealt with a lot of that, and I wouldn't want. I would still like to have the encounters that I do with people that are passed on, like loved ones, even if it's like just shielding myself from anything negative,
Yeah, I can totally see that. I mean, it's hard for any of us to let go, or I mean, because like the way the game talks about it too, it's almost like they kind of like cease to exist, or at least until the void or this rift comes back. Derivative, how about you? Like, what would you in real life? What kind of decision would you make here?
I mean, I guess it would kind of really determine the context. Like, if it's a situation of like where the act of going, being nothing is a painful experience and things like that, I would be a little bit more iffy towards that. If it's purely a like a selfish reason to keep them, basically they would want to pass on, but you do not want to let go. I would be more leaning towards that. I mean,
that's interesting.
I'm personally not a spiritual person, so that's where I kind of have that strange ethical dilemma with it, I guess.
Sure.
In that sense.
Sure. No, I feel you on that. I think that's a good question. I think that might even change Layla, I'd imagine, her perspective on it, if the idea was that keeping the ghost somehow prevented them from seeking closure as well. Is that fair,
Right.
Layla?
I mean, that's definitely fair in that perspective. I think it's because my personal perspective is that like I feel like with ghosts or spirits, they're using that time or whatnot to be ready to pass on, So it's like if they were ready to pass on, don't think I would be engaging
Interesting.
with that.
So it's
Like I feel like
purgatory.
Yes, I think that as well. Yeah, that's just my perspective on it. That's all I can say.
Yeah, no, I feel you. Jordan, how about you?
There's good discussion, lots of discussion in the chat too. I guess it depends on how negatively it affects people, and like, are people being haunted and stuff? Like, there's just so little we know.
Yeah. Yeah. Get that.
Yeah.
I think if the ghosts had already sort of made peace with themselves, and they would have moved on themselves, I think a lot of times, like, we make the assumption, or at least it's sort of perceived, not really an assumption, that, the ghosts that do stick around have sort of unfinished business, so to speak. So if you finish that business, then, there really isn't any need for you to stay. It would just, like in most movies, the light shines and you just go or wherever you need to, because you've already found your peace. I think it just would be, like on Jordan's point, it would depend on like how it would affect people negatively. But then there's also sort of the stance where does it keep balance? There always has to be some sort of veil, I think. And in anything I think that people have read or have seen, once that veil gets broken, there can be hardships, but closing that veil off completely can sometimes even damage the world, your world as well, because there's that spiritual connection that you just have with people or things or just the universe, I think. So it would just depend on what the circumstances would be, but I would probably just leave things alone. I mean, and maybe be one of those people where like I would help, if they're being, with the whatever, use my power to
like guide them,
catch the evil spirits or something, but I think that it's just
that's interesting.
There's a balance, and I think things happen for a reason, so I don't know if it would be something that I would completely be okay to get rid of, because then it could be detrimental to the future of just anything.
That's what's so unique about this game too, is you have the choice to whether to talk or attack the ghost. So I'd be curious. I'm sure Spookle McBoogle has like plans as far as like different outcomes, or I'd love, like I loved in other RPGs. Hey,
Siobhan, hi.
Thanks so much appreciate you so much there. Thanks to everybody that's joining us. You joined us right in the conversation where we're discussing Atoll: The Last Ghost, a game where you have the opportunity to fight ghosts, but also you have the opportunity to bring them to your team. And so Spookle McBoogle, the developer, is in the chat, and I'd be curious, Spookle, I remember like Planescape Torment and other kind of like RPGs where you have parties and like the party members like interact with each other and have relationships. I'd love to see like the ghosts interact with each other. Like maybe the ghost dog can like be like a soothing pet for the drowned girl or something like that. You know what I mean? You kind of see them interact in a certain way. We got a couple folks in the chat right here. Spookle McBoogle saying the whole idea is based on the Japanese movie Pulse, which is very heavy film to watch. It has sensitive themes, but I recommend it. Derivative, I see in the chat, is saying Pulse is a phenomenal movie. Starskull is saying, I think it would be best to let the dead pass on if ghosts stay permanently, especially the malicious ones. It would render the world of the living completely inhospitable. Yeah, good point. Benzo Clown saying, there is the possibility that you are their closure, which I think is very interesting. Maybe you can elaborate on that a bit more. I think that's a fascinating thought. Spookle McBoogle saying, it's just that in the game, even the evil spirits say, help me. I kind of implied that the ghosts are still hard on this earth, and it's better than hanging around here and there. Very interesting. And again, Siobhan, thank you so much for the raid. I see y'all coming through. Really, really appreciate you. Spookle McBoogle also saying there are also lines and messages that those who spend a long time with their ghosts become ghosts themselves. And I implied that a person who lives with ghosts does not live their life. That's very fascinating, right? Yeah. I remember that. I remember that line, right? That whole idea that you're kind of maybe so attached. Now I'm adding to it, but based on what Spookle McBoogle said, like you're so attached to the past and these ghosts and this life that is no longer alive, so to speak, and how we would envision it, that, yeah, you might become of that world. Spookle also saying, yes, I'm already adding a relationship system between player and ghosts. From time to time, ghosts will want to talk to you, and you can strengthen your connection with them. Very interesting. King of the Nerds has to go. Thank you, as always, King of the Nerds, for joining us. Really appreciate you. You always come hard in the chat and participate so much. We really appreciate that. Have a good night.
Yeah, that point that Spookle made really kind of resonated, actually. The one of the spending a long time with their ghosts. Because you can kind of, again, relate it to mental health, because we talk about that a lot. Right?
Yes.
Is things of like dwelling on your past.
Yes.
What is a ghost but the past?
Yeah. Perfect, Derivative. And what do you all think about that? I love everything you just said right there. That it's like it's preventing you from living almost.
I can see that. There's actually a lot of Korean dramas where that happens. Actually, like that's kind of the storyline, is that they're with the ghosts for so long that they become, that just becomes their life, and they end up having no life at all because they spend so much time with this ghost. Because to them that ghost is real. And they always say that ghosts feed off your energy, so the longer that they stay with you, that could be detrimental to you, and you could end up. I can see that becoming like metaphorically a ghost yourself. I mean, in either sense, you're a ghost of your former life because you're spending all this time with this thing that you think is real, and they've already passed on. And that could really be associated to just like Derivative said, just real life, living in your past and not, just looking forward to a future because you're just blinded by the past. You're stuck in it.
Yeah.
Trapped.
Exactly.
Trapped.
It's wild.
I feel like that makes me resonate with like grieving so
Yeah.
much. It's like I definitely like when you're going through the grieving process, it is like you're trying to let go,
Yeah.
and you stop like at least for me in my process of when I lost my best friend, I did stop living. Like I stopped going out, like, and my whole energy was to like, why is she not here? So I definitely get that part of it for sure about like you don't live when you're sitting there like
Yeah.
not able to move on and like live your life, but you put everything on pause because you're in the grieving process.
Yeah, but it's also understandable to like want those people to be back, to have those feelings of attachment, to kind of go to whatever lengths to make that happen. So I think this game could continue to explore that through its narrative in a way to where the player has to kind of decide for the I mean, also just the mere fact that when you have them join your team, you got your team gets stronger. So like at some point it almost becomes, it could, I guess this could be something explored, where it's a bit selfish in some ways, because it's like, why would I want to let a team member go or not bring a team member, because they make me stronger, right? They make the whole crew stronger, sort of situation. So I think there's some elements right there that can definitely be explored. I know we're already over time and we still got one more game to cover. Do you guys have any last thoughts on this one? Are you guys still okay on time? Can we discuss the last one? If anybody has to hop off, you totally feel free to do so. But we got one more. Any last thoughts about this one before we move on? So let's give a huge shout out to Spookle McBoogle, the developer behind Atoll, The Last Ghost. Maybe Spookle, if you can also make sure we're pronouncing that right. Atoll, I think, that's how I've been saying it. I'm so glad to see that your game has been getting buzz from several indie sites. Encourage everybody to try this game. As we said, it's about 10 minutes or so, and as Spookle McBoogle said, it's in active development with additional features. I'm curious if you plan on adding those over time, like kind of an early access model, or are we going to get like a kind of a new version coming out, updated over time. So appreciate you so much, Spookle McBoogle. Thank you so much for joining, and hope you can stick around in the chat for our final game of the night, which is, let me transition here. Give me 1 second, folks. Our final game of the night is called There's This Girl, from Angela He. If that name sounds familiar, this is actually the third Angela He game we've covered. We covered Missed Messages a couple weeks back, and then, oh gosh, it's at the tip of my tongue. Layla Legend, help me out. What's New Life? New Life. Yes, those were the two games of hers that we've covered in the past. This one, I'll read a description and we can just jump right into it. Actually, first, let me check to see if there is a tag for this game. Yep, there is. So let me update it real quick, y'all. On chat, on Facebook as well. And then I will also throw the link in here. So again, this game is called There's This Girl. Experience love between two girls, earnest stargazers, and still searching for their path in life. The future's unclear. Will their dreams be broken? Will they walk different paths? And can their love be torn apart? Guys, you can play this on itch, but it's also available on the Google Play Store and the Apple App Store, and I actually downloaded it to my phone. And we should say it's available for free, and I played it that way. So as we play this game, I'd love to hear whether you played it on computer or phone. What are your thoughts about this one, y'all?
I think I recommend phone. Assuming you have a smartphone or something with finger swipe, I think that's the way it was designed to be played.
I feel
Not to mention, I was playing it in browser on my computer and full screened it and it wasn't working.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want to go into that a little more, Jordan? Like what are you mainly doing in the game? Like, you definitely swiping a lot.
It is a cute visual novel with as few words as possible. very interesting, emotional, and God, the art and the scenes are so freaking dope, and the music
Yeah.
is tight. The music is awesome.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
yeah, to advance the story and advance things, you're just moving something or swiping something or connecting thing. It's all can be done with your finger, very straightforward, and kind of fits in with what's going on.
Yeah, we should say this one compared to Angela Hee's other work is probably one of her least interactive, so to speak. Like there's only a few parts, as you said, Jordan. You're swiping constantly to advance the scenes. You can, as everybody sees in the trailer, you can connect stars to make constellations. I tried going through a couple times. I'm not sure if I don't think the constellations change anything. Hey, Star Skull, thanks so much for cheering. Really appreciate you there. I'm not sure if the constellations and connecting them makes much of a difference to the ultimate story. Because after I played it, I watched other people and tried to. Hey, Tempest also with a cheer. Appreciate the cheer trade coming through. Thank you all. I think the game is pretty much the same for everybody. It's like 5 scenes. Do you guys want to kind of unpack the story a bit? And if you did have a different experience, I'd love to hear that. Who wants to jump in first?
I was good. Do I want to do this? Right now?
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right. If anything, I was like, didn't even know I was supposed to connect the stars at first, and then I would do 1 or 2 and then move on and be like, what? And then eventually just like have fun with it. I don't think it matters at all. It's just,
Yeah.
I've said this before when we do indie games, and it's funny enough, I didn't do this yesterday. A lot of times I'll I'll turn off the lights, I'll get in the mood, you know, so to speak. I'll just get ready to fully be absorbed in the experience. I like to just imagine, kind of like how when you're playing Sims, they don't talk. They speak Simish or Simlish or whatever, but they have little thought bubbles above your head. So it's like, oh, he's talking about math. He's talking about this and that. And this game had that at times. So when it came to the to get in the mood, to get in the atmosphere, when it came to the constellations, I was just connecting it, like having fun with it, thinking it's like charming moments where they're literally like, oh, look at that one. You see it connects here, here, and here. You know, I was really trying to get into their mindset.
Yeah.
Sorry. Just to really fully feel, and boy did I feel.
Yeah, let's go into those feelings there. We should also say, like, as we've covered Angela Hee's other games, there's some common threads here. Exploring lesbian relationships, typically like Asian American identity, as well as kind of the roller coaster ride of emotions with relationships, I think, is the other piece here. But also, as Jordan says, the art style and the music. I gotta say, a shout out to the dev. Like, I was watching some of her making of videos, and she also includes the music that she recommends. So if anybody's into kind of like lo-fi, like hip hop and just chill music, like, she actually includes a lot of that stuff in there. And I came away with a lot of music recommendations that I really enjoyed. But
where did you find that information? I need to know.
I downloaded I was trying to find a trailer for this game, and so this is like her official trailer that she made. And then you could also find. I love the bits. Thanks to Tempest. You guys are keeping it going. It's awesome. You can find on her like a YouTube page. You can watch her hands drawing or on computer screen drawing this all. But yeah, let's unpack the story a bit. What's the basic story that we're exploring here? And
well, it's a love connection between 2 women, and that's kind of like you were saying, is the dev's theme.
Yeah.
For a lot of her games, which I love that she continues to use that theme because it just makes it more normalized. But the art is always really beautiful in this game. And are in her games, and I love that the characters have colorful hair too. Like her characters always have like different colored hair. And I think I like that too.
The tall woman, her hair was nice. Her hair was fine.
Yeah.
Yes,
for sure.
I loved her hair. I was like, might do that. But but just that you go through a connection, or you go through this relationship between the 2. For this game though, I feel like you didn't have as many decisions as like her normal one. Yeah. So I feel like it was definitely like a more simple version of the games that she actually does make.
Yeah, this was made before the other ones we played, I should say.
There we go. Okay, I was like, is this new? You know, and I actually did download it on my phone as well, but the sound wasn't working for me on the phone. So I was like, and so I didn't get to hear any of the music. I like turned up and down my volume on my phone. It wasn't working. So I was like, she didn't add music to that. Like I was like, it was
Oh,
thrown,
that's no
thrown
good.
off. Yeah, that definitely watered down my
Oh,
experience.
so yeah, you didn't get a chance to. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very kind of calm music, but yeah, it does kind of help.
Yes. Which in all of her games, the music is definitely key, with feeling and whatnot. So I didn't get I didn't get the music part of it, but I still got the gist. Like you were saying, that the bubbles, the quote bubbles of like their conversations and whatnot. So yeah, it was I also liked the astrology part of it, just because I'm really big into astrology. So I wish I could have like really heard or like knew what they were talking about.
Well, we should say that you didn't miss anything in terms of there was no dialogue or anything. The only part that was voiced was you see that like the beginning of each like chapter, there's like a line of like a musical line, like "I fall in love too easily," I think, and that's like someone sings that part. But everything else, as Jordan was saying, was just like the thought.
Oh
bubble
yeah,
stuff.
yeah. I just meant like for me myself.
Oh,
like,
gotcha. Gotcha.
Actually, no, because that's not her.
Yeah.
That's not really her way of doing things anyway. So I didn't think that there was actually any like
Gotcha. Okay.
dialogue.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I definitely enjoyed it. I like that it was broken up into parts too, as well. Like how you just like go through and all the, but she usually does that as well. So I just felt like, because it was before, I guess, the games that we have played from her, it felt watered down to me. But that makes sense as to why, because she usually goes so much more in depth with things. But it also could have been just the music aspect. I didn't get it.
Yeah, this was more because of its less interactivity. It definitely felt more kind of like a graphic novel that like you were going through than a game where you were making many choices. Hey, thanks No86. Appreciate you liking the stream so much. Thanks a lot. Legend and Derivative, what are your thoughts about this one?
So one of the things with this game in particular, I mean, you said it was the first one. But given my past, I did not play that one that you all did prior.
And you
to Missed Messages, yeah. So my two game experience with Angel is two games that were very much around the thought of the mental health suicide situation. So I'm playing this like, oh God, when is this going to drop? When am I going to like really be emotionally crushed? And yes, the fact that their relationship does not end up working out, spoilers, at least depending on, I mean, how you take the last bit of it. Yeah, I mean, it didn't hit me as hard because of that, but that's not a detriment to the game itself. It's just off of past experience with this developer.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a good point.
Yeah, I was definitely kind of in my mind. I was expecting that little bit of. The games tend to be very grounded, but there is a little level of surrealness to them. And this game did not really have that surrealism in there.
What do you mean by the surrealism? Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
There's usually some aspects regarding actions that are a little bit larger than life, and the way they're kind of shown. But this game was very grounded in reality.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally feel you on that. And I mean, very realistic too. Like in that, you know what I mean? Like it kind of just showed like very much like a romantic movie. You see in that first scene, you have them bump into each other. They go down to pick up their books and they're reading the exact same book and they kind of connect it and their thought bubble kind of connects in that way too. And you see them sharing in relationship, but then you start to see things go a bit downhill. Can you guys, what did you guys think exactly happened that got the relationship that separated them? Legend, do you have thoughts about that? Like I don't know
if it was really anything specific. It was just sort of like maybe just young love. Young love, in my opinion, starting something new that maybe wasn't unexpected. That can always sort of be, because I think if it's your first maybe same-sex relationship, it can be a little challenging and a little emotional. I think from the start, because you aren't really sure how to navigate if this is something that you're not really familiar with. So I kind of got that sense a little bit. Like she wanted more than what this other person was sort of willing to give, I guess.
Interesting.
I definitely, the fact that you guys said that it was, or the fact that you said that it was her first game makes a whole
Not necessarily
lot
her first game, just earlier than the other.
Right,
games.
right. Not her first game necessarily, but prior to the other two games that we played, because I was like derivative, was kind of waiting for like the shoe to drop. Like I was waiting for it to fall, but when it didn't happen, I was pleasantly surprised. I mean, her artwork is always beautiful. I mean, I would probably tattoo some of her shit on my body. Like it's really pretty. I mean, she's got the aesthetic that everyone absolutely loves. Like her art style is just phenomenal, and the way that she story tells through her art, I think is beautiful.
Yeah.
It's really hard, I think, in visual novels to fully convey a storyline very well, and she matches that aesthetic quite smoothly, I think.
Yeah. I mean, she also captures these characters. I mean, I think one common theme is she captures like a magic within each of the characters. Like you look at these characters and they all look pretty to begin with, but also
everything seems to tie itself in a it's always like, you know, the girls are dressed sort of in the scene, like it's fall, you know what I mean? There's that cute little like leaf animation. There's always like everything that she does, I think the environment ties into the story itself. Especially with certain moments have that lighting, you know, that sort of dusk. Like if you notice in this game, not everything was really bright. It was very dusky, sort of like the sun setting or the sun rising, I guess, was sort of how I saw it. It wasn't really like daytime, nighttime type thing, sort of, except for like when you're connecting the stars and doing the relationship. But when the thought bubbles were together, it was like they were, you know, they were in the relationship, they were on the same page, and then it just seemed to me like things just sort of, you know, like I said, it seemed like it was new, it was fresh, and having the shorter girl, I guess for lack of better description, seemed to want more than what the other person wanted, and it was just that was the vibe that I got.
Yeah, that's interesting. That part right there. Like Jordan, did you feel that as well too? Like, cause like midway through, you kind of see the taller girl, for again lack of character names here. She was like at a party or something, talking to people, and it looked like she stood up her partner, like who was studying at the library. Was that what was going on? Like, and they kind of argued over it.
Like Legend said, I definitely got a sense that maybe the size of the women is like a metaphor, like for a power dynamic, possibly. But like the smaller one looked like she kind of wanted more, was a little too or a little more, not too, my bad, was a little more into the taller one and like a little more emotional about it. And the taller one, like you were getting at, eventually was just talking about finances and career and future stuff with life, or as so much as we can glean just from the symbols. They don't use text. That she was just like, maybe I'm growing apart from this person, or maybe I'm gonna make like a logical career-based decision instead of like fall in love with this, you know, cute little brunette woman. That's how I interpreted it from there.
Yeah, I mean, and as it is, like the first line of the game is "I fall in love too easily." So I kind of took it as a sense of, you know, when they run into each other, it's the fact that they both have this astrology book, and that's kind of where their relationship kind of starts. That's when their eyes meet. And that's when that kind of happens. And they kind of, they drift apart. They don't really seem to have much in the way in common past that one book. And it definitely seemed like for the one girl, maybe the book was more a curiosity, and the other one, the book was more, I don't want to say an obsession, but definitely an interest. So then once they kind of started losing that commonality between each other, they I guess maybe they realized they didn't really have anything else in common, and it just kind of collapsed in that sense.
That's interesting because, like, there's been a lot of studies about this as well. Like the chemicals in your brain, like a lot of things associated with like love, lust, attraction, those sorts of things, and how I forgot. I remember reading this study in like college about like how long that kind of period lasts typically in many cases, and generally like some people have suggested that if you're in a relationship that can like get beyond that period and you're still in love with each other and you're kind of out of that kind of early honeymoon phase, and that's like a sign of the longevity of the relationship. That's fascinating. That's fascinating to me, derivative. That initial line, falling in love too easily. Like, how did the rest of you all feel about that? Or does everybody else feel kind of on that same page that one had stronger feelings than the other, and just maybe that was part of the reason there was a little bit of a rift?
I feel as though I didn't get that vibe
Mm.
from it, but I did get all the other vibes of them like just growing apart, or in that party scene for me, I feel like was definitely the turnover at the beginning of the drifting apart, because it was like whenever she was talking to other people, they weren't worried about like her hobbies, or that was her hobby or her interest. They were worried about money, and it's like then it was like it honed in on her, and she's like, money, what am I gonna do with my life? Oh my gosh. And so it was like she just started like getting rid of things that didn't push her in that direction, to where she could, I guess, like finances is what obviously got me, like a career, what am I gonna do, I don't have time for this. So I guess like that's where she grew
Interesting.
up more, or was growing up faster than and honing in on what she was gonna do career wise. So it's like then she started focusing on that, I feel like, and the other girl, the shorter girl, was still maintaining like her own hobbies and stuff like that, and I guess wasn't as stressed about it. I don't know. That's the vibe that I got,
That's
was that she needed to
interesting.
go and better herself and let go of things that weren't pushing her in that direction. And because she did that and she started ditching
Hmm.
her, or like leaving her on red or whatever, she felt like she wasn't being loved anymore. Or like, so it was like caused a big rip in between them. And then she later starts to say that she has to work on herself, so to heal. So she started healing, looking at things in her, like for herself and what she wants as a person, becoming who she is, and that gives you guys the opportunity to rekindle, or to just move on and keep
Hmm.
doing fine without her, you know. So that's just how I
That's
took
really
it.
fascinating. I wonder, I might have actually misread this because I think I'm in the minority. At that scene where she's at the party, kind of staring straight at you, I thought that she was like talking like the scientific stuff. That's what I interpreted. That she was talking like the astronomy side, and then the money and all the other bubbles. I thought those were like things that were happening around her that she couldn't relate to. So I almost took like a slightly different approach where I thought the colors were fading. You guys know that kind of feeling. We've all had, I think, at some point in life, I assume, where you just like you're in a situation but you don't want to be, or you can't relate to the people around you, or people are.
Yeah.
Everybody has this vibe and you're at a different vibe, just even in that moment. So that's what I was thinking. Like that at that moment, people were talking superficial stuff, and she was wanting to take it to a different place. But I totally might have misread that. Maybe she was participating in that.
Yeah, I think that's why she threw the book away. Like, at least that's my
Mm,
perspective. It was like she wanted to talk about astrology, and they were like, "No, why do you want to talk about that? We should talk about money." Like, and then it's like the
gotcha.
bubbles were red. There was red bubbles, and there were like green bubbles. So it was like, for me, that was like, oh, they're not on her vibe right now. Like,
Yeah.
they're like, we need to careers. Like, they're
That
in
yeah.
school. Yeah.
I'm with
Interesting.
Layla there for careers, and I like that it's open into interpretation. I like how you interpret it too, Mike.
Mhm.
But it's not necessarily money, but it's like the conversation so many people have had all the time. Like, you want to be an artist in college, you want to
Yeah.
be this, you want to be that, and it's like that's not going to work. You got to be a IT guy or something. Well, I am an IT guy, but you get what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
You
yeah, yeah.
know, you got to get an actual job or something, and I feel like I interpreted it that way a little bit.
Mm,
So kind of what you're saying too, Mike, but it was getting to her.
gotcha.
Yeah.
I think all that makes a whole lot of sense. Derivative. What was your interpretation of all of that?
I mean, I definitely took it more on your side, where where their interests were kind of they're going in different places. That their one common interest, one stopped kind of really getting into that, and that's kind of what happened. That it's that it. I hate to keep relating this being the millennial and relating it to stuff that we grew up with.
Yeah.
That's on Breakfast at Tiffany's. Yeah, their relationship's falling apart, but they both like that movie.
Yeah.
So let's I don't know. That was a really stupid analogy, but
no, I feel you though. I feel you on that. Which does, I guess, at the end make me wonder. Like, that makes me kind of think about that final choice. Like the main choice in the game, the thing that ultimately concludes this game is like in that final scene, you run into each other, like in a park, and you essentially have a choice to like turn back around and potentially rekindle things. Maybe we don't really know where it goes, or to move on. So yeah, what were y'all's choices in the game? And yeah, I guess what would you do in real life in a case like this? I don't know.
I'm annoying, so I went to go back because I can't ever let anything go. That was a personal choice. I feel like I don't know how to like not fix things or feel like I need to fix things. So I was like, I'm gonna go back. But then whenever I like got to that point, I and did it again, I chose to like move on.
That's the same order I did too. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm opposite order.
You left first.
I left. Yeah. I mean, and as far as real life goes, it depends on how close we were and how much time there was there and how much time between. Because if there was a lot of time between, I'd just be like, I mean, maybe I'd turn around and be like, "What's up, girl? You're not playing baseball or softball anymore? How you doing?" But not actually rekindle per se. But like, I don't know, if I've moved on and I think there are healthier ways or people or whatever in life, I'll probably stick with that, depending on how much time went by. I mean, if we're talking 2 weeks, that's no time at all. But
yeah.
But yeah, so first time I said it, I'm gonna move on. Let's see how positive this ending can be and like work on yourself stuff. And then I ran through it again real quick and tried the other one.
Yeah, I feel you in that. Derivative Legend, how about y'all?
I moved on. That was my first choice. I moved on. Yeah, I ain't got time for that shit. I ain't got that.
I went with the move on.
I mean, but to Jordan's point, like it's true. Like depending on how much time has passed, I think I don't know if anything would be rekindled, but at least when you're with someone for a long period of time and you build deep emotions with that person, there's always going to be a friendship there. There's always going to be a connection, So I think it just depends on how much time had passed. I wouldn't be like, hey, but at least be like, hey, what's up? How you doing? Let me look up on Facebook real quick and send you a little slide in them DMs, just to say hi, that type of thing. But
yeah,
I don't know about like rekindling something, no. But I chose move on my first round because sometimes it's for the best.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's for the best, Yeah,
as Jordan said, in this case, it's a little tricky not knowing the full context.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's at least a year.
What? I thought it was a few months. Was it a year?
Well, it started in 20, right? No, it's not a year? It wasn't a year?
I don't
I forgot that they showed a calendar.
Yeah.
So it was at least a couple months because it showed like October, November 2021.
Oh, I didn't pay attention to the years.
And it moved into 22, I thought.
Okay, maybe I missed
that. But I don't think it was I think it was like 3 months. But it might have been more. I don't remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember that either. But that's a good point to pick on is how long, because I think that always takes time.
Says his side.
Yeah. Yeah. So Derivative, what were you said move on as well. What were your thoughts about?
Yeah,
that?
I kind of going with my own interpretation of the story. I went with move on. Because I felt it was the most like therapeutic one for me.
Mm-hmm.
I was in one of those unrequited love situations in college where I was more interested in the girl than she was than me for like almost 3 years, and I felt like this was like what I should have done in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
So it was very kind of comforting in that sense.
Yeah. I totally feel you on that. Yeah. We got a couple of comments here. Laszlo saying, I definitely picked move on first. Miss me with those ignored texts. No thanks. Laszlo also saying they probably still only had one thing in common. It would be so awkward to try and go back on something that was already so fragile. Yeah, that's a interesting point, Laszlo. It's like, yeah, like before, I guess it could be tempting in that moment because you're passing each other, so it's almost like an instinctual reaction. You know, you're walking through the park, it's like a unique time to like really consider that and make a decision, but like you said, thinking it through and realizing that maybe there's not more there than one thought. Yeah, and
But people grow too. If a certain time has passed, people have grown. So I guess it's just dependent on the personal relationship and the situation itself. But sometimes when time passes, it's good. It's a good thing. People heal, people grow.
Yeah.
No, there still is. But you're right though. Laszlo missed me with those whatever.
Yeah.
But I'm bad at responding, so you can't always pin that on me.
Yeah.
I'm bad.
My perspective of it was like, how bad was the situation? It was something over growing out, I guess, just not having the same common interest anymore, or whatever it was, or stress of trying to be in a career, trying to get a career. It's like, what was it to where would it be worth rekindling? So it was like, what happened, or what was the distance enough to be like, hey, you know what? We were both going through some things during that time. I needed to heal. Like, I needed to work on myself emotionally, and you needed to work on your career. Is that too bad of a reason to not try to come back when we're where we're supposed to?
Interesting.
As people, So I was like, is it really that bad? Was it that bad to where you can like try to see if there was more, or like rekindle that or not?
Yeah, I totally.
There wasn't like any cheating or anything, like, so it was like, why would you not try it? But that's my personal opinion.
Yeah, this one definitely had played faster and with less choices. There was less to go on than her other games, and so Laszlo writes, it may have not been the first time she did that to her too. It's so much to read into. Mystic agreeing with that as well. Yeah, I feel y'all on that. Yeah, a lot of it just depends. Context is key for all of this, for sure. Yeah, I know when I was looking at the itch page for this, a lot of people in the comments were really hoping for a sequel. It seemed like there was a ton of folks who were like really
She
hoping
does that though. She makes these games and then you're just like, oh, what the F?
Yeah. You get invested in the relationships, right?
I was about to say, by what the F you mean attached to the characters and what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
October 2000 and it was October 21 and then it was June 22. So it wasn't.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Oh, June, so it's like 7 months.
Oh wow, longer than I thought.
Or so.
Interesting. Okay, yeah, that was longer. I thought for some reason I only thought it was like 2 or 3 months, but yeah, I think that's like a good dramatic amount of time where it's like enough to where people are like doing their own kind of thing, changing up their patterns, habits, that sort of thing, but also still in memory, right? It's not that far down in the rear view mirror.
Cutting pictures is a little excessive, though. I don't know if that's something that I've never done it. I've never.
What is excessive? Oh, well, cutting the pictures.
So I agree, and I don't do that. I tend to be. I'm like an emotional person, but I tend to like try to calm myself down and be logical about things. So I wouldn't be like cutting pictures and shit. I agree.
Yeah.
But from a game development perspective, for a visual novel and the way it works, I love it.
That's a good point.
You're controlling the scissors going through. It's almost like, especially if you were mega attached to the relationship, not just the characters, it's almost like, I don't want to do this. Why do I do? I think
you have to do it to move on. That's a great
one
point.
example. Exactly. It was one example of really good storytelling or like gameplay element.
I like that. Yeah, because I agree, Legend, totally. I've never done that in my life. I've never cut a picture like that before, except doing like what did we had to do in like high school or something like that? Like cut up magazines, like collage and do stuff. That's the extent of it that I did. I've never cut like any photos of that sort of thing otherwise. Anybody else do that? No one? No one cast a voodoo spell or anything on someone.
No, surprisingly, I've never done that. I've never cut a picture. So.
But I agree with you, Jordan, as
Yeah.
far as the
Yeah, you're gonna
mechanics.
scratch your phone that way.
Yeah, exactly. That'd be a horrible idea for sure.
I've had someone throw my phone though before. That's
Your
What do you mean,
phone at you or
Yes.
someone else?
No, like
Or
3
just throw-
houses down.
Oh man.
That's a baseball player or something there. Holy shit.
No, not a
It's a
baseball
pitcher.
player.
I'm
Yeah,
just saying. I'm just 3 houses down is far.
it was. I told him, "Ha, you have to buy me a new one. Go
Ha.
get it."
Oh man.
But it was a Nokia phone, so like destroyed wherever it whatever.
Oh
Yeah.
man, that was a crater in the freaking street.
Yeah, an old Zach Morris Saved by the Bell phone that just like murdered a child 3 doors down on the slide. Oh, poor kid. Awesome, folks. Well, I know we went quite a bit over time this one, but I think we had a lot of good conversations with the 5 games. Any last comments about this one before we close out the night here?
Yes, my final thoughts.
Yes.
Like I said, I really got into it and just allowed myself to be absorbed and like feel the emotion and stuff. The scissors one, the head bubbles of one topic combining together, so
Yeah.
like them having a common interest and like being interested in each other. Really good visual way to depict what's going on. There are a few of my favorite moments that I like absolutely loved, mostly because it was like an interesting way to like show emotion.
Mhm.
One of them was like depicting the different stuffed animal.
Yeah.
It was so cute and such a good vibe. It was like
Yeah.
it was like a different personalities and being silly when you're hanging out because they're making different faces kind of vibe, but also like in a store picking which one you like kind of vibe. It was really cute.
Yeah.
One of them was when Tall Homegirl was playing softball and looked in the stands. I don't know about you guys,
Yeah.
but when I look in the stands, it didn't center on the person. You had to drag it over to it. So when you drag it over to the short girl with the brown hair, it's like she's glowing.
Yeah.
It's like that should have been the center of attention, but it took your eyes a few minutes to notice it. Have you guys ever been in a situation like that?
Can you elaborate? What do you mean, like where you are?
I mean, the gameplay of having to drag it down,
Mm-hmm.
in my opinion, was indicative of how it is in real life sometimes, whether you're playing a sport or like a game tournament or something,
Mm-hmm.
or working, where you're distracted, you're doing your thing, and then you turn and look at the stands or whatever. You don't see them right away, but when you do,
Yeah.
you get those like butterflies in your stomach. You get that feeling. You're like, oh my God, that's my person. Oh, I didn't know they were
Yeah.
there. This is so sweet. Like, I felt like that was a great way to show us that.
Yeah. I
Mad
love that.
props to the developer and the way it's designed. And then one of my final ones was when things started going bad. I think maybe when the chick is stood up. I'm
Mhm.
using all these silly terms. When the shorter woman is stood up, it shows the taller woman like outside. I don't really know, and it's like blurry, possible bisexual flag. I don't know, but like blurry purple pink rain, and then the rain almost like deforms
Yeah.
the person's body into the next scene, and then there's another thing like that too, but not rain. But it's
Can
still,
I
like,
ask you
almost
about that
melts.
real quick? Like,
Yeah.
real quick, just to continue that. Like, I actually had like the derivative moment where I thought she was actually on like a bridge about to jump off. Was I the only one?
Oh
that
my
thought
gosh.
I thought she was standing on a railing. I'm the only
Oh,
one.
God, I
Okay,
forgot.
sorry.
God, I
with
thought it
the
was a
dev.
metaphor, but damn, girl.
I totally
But
thought.
with the dev, you could see that happening.
Yeah, I
Like,
had.
you know,
like-
so maybe it was like us looking for, oh, this is it. This is the part where it turns right here,
Yeah.
because that's what she's known for.
That's-
is those moments.
As Derivative said, that's
Oh, I
the
see
drop
that.
I was waiting for. I was like, oh shit, now it happens. But yeah, sorry to interrupt or change your train of thought there, Jordan. You keep going with this. This is really fascinating.
No, yeah, I mean, I just thought it was just so well done to feel what they feel in that moment. Like, I don't know, the the rain is commonly used for like representative crying, but then the way it like melts into the next scene, it almost like you don't feel like yourself before, like you're dealing with loss, not like a different kind of loss, like the person hasn't died, but
Yeah.
you're growing apart and they're leaving your life, so like it doesn't feel like you're there. It feels like moment to moment is like a blur and like you're floating. And so when it shows the caricatures like melting into the next scene, I was like, damn, this is good. This is better than good. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure.
All that. I love that analysis right there. Yeah, there's a lot there for sure.
Yep.
me
So yeah,
thinking.
those are my favorite moments. The storytelling
Yeah.
was just so well done.
I was trying to think about that rain element. That's a really good point.
Which Amar is saying is that the bisexual lighting, like those colors,
Yeah.
because it was the pink, blue, and purple, right?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Could be.
Amar coming through with the. Yeah, exactly. We learned about that in when we were talking spirit, or at least some of us. I think some of us knew about it. I did not. I was not familiar with bisexual lighting until
Neither.
spirit cleaning, and in fact, a couple of the folks involved with spirit cleaning. Not only if you look up bisexual lighting in Wikipedia, Mar, like you'll actually see an image created by one of the devs, but the entry itself is edited by them. So there's a lot to it. I love how we unpack all this stuff, everybody. Like, I love hearing all this. Appreciate, Jordan. Yeah, you coming through with all those deep cuts right there. On
Of course,
the
man.
analysis
Layers.
side.
You
Yeah,
pick
yeah.
the good games. I'll come with the good analysis and the feels on
Hey,
this
man,
one.
I
Definitely the
appreciate
feels.
it. Yeah, I'm glad it all worked out. Like, I'll say this week was like completely blind outside of Dridgedev and I talking about the including spirit cleaning, and he had of course played through that. I hadn't played through these ahead of time, so I'm glad they all worked out. They were less, I'd say, interactive than some of the other things we've done in the past, but I think it's an interesting area to explore for sure. Yeah, cool. So, but unless we have any last thoughts, I am gonna do our outros and then raid a friend's channel. Any last thoughts on this one? Sweet. Well, thank you everybody at home. We want to give you a huge shout out. Shout out to all the devs who were participating throughout. Really appreciate you all not only spreading the word about Indie Game Club, but also participating in the chat. Thank you to everybody who participated on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook. Thanks to all the folks who subscribed and gave bits. You guys are so awesome. Really appreciate you so much. Let's go ahead and do our outros and then we'll rate a friendly channel. Tempest coming through with another cheer. Appreciate you, man. I am Michael Zhitkov. I'm the founder and executive director of Potions and Pixels. We're a nonprofit organization here in Charlotte, North Carolina. Definitely check us out if you get a chance. Do a lot of cool different game projects, indie game club, game development, workforce development, a wide variety of different things. So make sure to check us out at potionsandpixels.com and all your friendly social media channels. I see Spookle McBoogle, the designer of Atoll the Lasco, saying, "Thank you, very nice stream. I left a link to your club in description for my game." Hey, that's very kind of you. Thank you so much, Spookle McBoogle. And please, as we said before, you are now Indie Game Club family, so please reach out to us on the regular. Keep us updated. We'd love to check out your work in the future. And I'll say this before I toss over. If you're not following us right now, liking, subscribing, all that good stuff, please take a moment to do so. It only takes a second to follow right now on Twitch and on all those social media platforms. And make sure to do that. I will be hurt if you don't do it for us, but I will be hurt if you don't do it for our amazing guests, because these people are fantastic. Hey, Laszlo, coming through with a follow. I love it. Thank you, Laszlo. As you will forever be known in my heart as Laszlo. Laszlo. I love it. Derivative. Let folks know again who you are and where they can find you, and I will drop your link in the chat.
All right, I'm Derivative. You can find me over at twitch.tv/Derivative. I could be your one-stop shop for anything overlooked, underrepresented games. It's what I do Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, 9 o'clock Eastern. Check my stream out. I'm 9 followers away from 200. So getting really close to that arbitrary milestone.
Everybody heard that? Make sure right now, I dropped the link right there. Take you 2 seconds. Click that and follow Derivative right now. Do it! Sorry, keep going, Derivative. I'm just your mascot, your anger translator.
Go.
Yeah.
Sweet. Always love. Yes.
That's all I got to end it with, I guess.
Just put that on. I love it. I love it. Awesome. Thank you. Let's clap it up for Derivative. Always love having you. Make sure to check out Derivative's stream. As I say all the time, like Derivative is like the king of exploring all of, as you say, what the what's your
overlooked and underrepresented.
Overlooked and underrepresented. So you're always going to discover something new if you watch Derivative stream. So thank you as always, Derivative. Really appreciate you. Let's slide on over to Angelic Layla. I'll drop your link in the chat. Angelic Layla, can you tell folks again who you are and where they can find you?
Yes, I'm Angelic Layla. You can find me on Twitch, right down there where Mike's about to post it. And I'm usually streaming Shinobi Striker, but recently I've been doing more of like mental health stuff on my other platforms. So on my Instagram and on my Snapchat, I've been posting like a lot of things of self-care, motivational quotes, a lot of things. So if you need motivation during your day, or if something to continuously look at every day to keep you uplifted, I've been doing that on my social media, on Instagram and Snapchat. So then those are Angelic Layla all together, one word.
Love it.
So
make sure to follow.
Appreciate y'all. And then I'm also an Athena Alliance stream team goddess. I'm the goddess of duality, and along with Legend, she's also part of the Athena Alliance. And I'm also an ambassador for the game Hers. So uplifting, empowering women is definitely one of the things I value. So, but yeah,
love it.
And I'm always here every Thursday.
We appreciate you as always, Layla. Make sure to like, follow, subscribe, all that good stuff to Layla. Let's clap it up for her. Appreciate you so much. All right, Legend of the Star. Let me drop your info right here. Let folks know again who you are and where they can find you.
So I'm Legend of the Star. I'm also an Athena Alliance member with Layla. I'm the goddess of indies. I stream Tuesday through Thursday, 10:30 to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All indies all the time. And then lately I've been dabbling a little bit in Delta 8 reviews. I also stream on Glemmish Fridays and Saturdays, but it's still sort of like a new platform, so I'm just getting my feelers out. Anywhere that I can represent indies, that's basically where you'll find me. But Legend of the Star on all of my social media platforms. Yeah, awesome. That's me. I stream indies.
Love it. Always love watching your stream. Always like checking out new stuff, and always love your appreciation and how much you want to highlight indie game devs. And
I think it's important. People sleep on them. Like, people don't take advantage. These games that we played just this week are a prime example of what you can find on itch.io. You know, people really need to take a closer look at indies, just because it has a big name. A lot of small indie companies have big names behind it, so they may be published by a large company, but that doesn't mean that they're not an indie. They're still an indie established game, and I think people miss out on the opportunities that indie games provides by skipping over those and heading straight to AAA titles. And it's our job to show them the way, and appreciate these people that put their heart and their soul into these games. That may take 3 days, may take a week to finish, but to put that much of a thought process in such storytelling, it really needs to be shared like everywhere.
Yeah, I love that so much. I love the end of night legend sermons. I always appreciate how uplifting they are, and how focused you are, on drawing attention to great indies out there. Let's clap it up for Legend of the Star. Appreciate you as always. Thank you. Again, make sure to follow her right now. It only takes a second, everybody. Click on these links and come through with those follows. And last but certainly not least, Tempest636, Jordan, big boy. Let folks know who you are and where they can find you.
So another full 3-hour indie game club. Does it always go long when I'm on? Is it my fault? I think it's my fault.
Man, you just come with that like next level analysis. You make us step our game up, and so we need a full 3 hours for you.
Way to
spend that so positive. We never would have known about the bisexual reign.
Yeah,
the bisexual
exactly.
Facts.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Yeah. Well, if you guys like someone who talks a lot, come on down to twitch.tv/Tempest636. I'm
Love it.
currently streaming Bloodborne, and I still always do some competitive games, StarCraft 2, what have you. So thanks, and
Yeah.
see you guys next time. And be sure to follow and subscribe to Potions of Pixels too, because Mike's a good man, and he always helps us put on such great events like tonight.
Cool. Appreciate you so much for that, Jordan. Thank you so much. And gotta reciprocate that love. It only takes a second, folks. Click on that Tempest 636 link, and you'll watch some awesome Bloodborne, and I'm assuming some next level StarCraft 2 gameplay for sure. Let's clap it up for Jordan. Thank you so much for joining us this week. Really appreciate you. And also, let's keep it clapping up because, series regular who hasn't been able to be on the last couple weeks, but Tony, our friend Tony Tiger 90, want to give a shout out to him. He's making some big moves in life, which I'm sure he'll share at some point. And so we appreciate him, but he needed another week off here. Thanks everybody again for watching. We're gonna go ahead and raid. I see, I think we want to show some love to all the folks who regularly watch us and who are also streaming. I see that Cammy Gino is streaming right now, so we can go ahead and raid Cammy's channel. Make sure to show some love in the process, and definitely make sure to follow and stay tuned for the next episode, everybody. So jump on to that raid, and we'll end the stream over there and show some love in the raid. Awesome. Thanks, everybody.